Craneworks provides superior customer service and a superior work environment. Start lifting Nashville to new heights and apply today at craneworks.com/careers. That's craneworks.com/careers.
Touchdown, Leonard Fournette.
Witness tomorrow's NFL stars this December at the Trans-Perfect Music City Bowl.
Eli back to throw, avoids pressure, steps up, has a man wide open, Armstrong in the end zone, touchdown.
Don't miss a second as two of college football's most exciting programs from the SEC and Big Ten go head-to-head on Thursday, December 30th at 2 p.m. inside Nissan Stadium. For more information on this year's game, including ticket availability, visit MusicCityBowl.com to get your tickets today.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at theGameNashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman. On Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving. ESPN 102.5 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. Reaction Monday is powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and by Focus. Sparkling water with a spark. Naturally caffeinated, by the way. No sugar. No calories, no crash, no nothing. Sparkling water with a spark. Replace your coffee with it. DrinkFocus.com. So, I got to say this. What a great Titanless football weekend. The Titans didn't lose, which is always good.
That's always a good sign.
The Ravens lost, which was good. The Chiefs won, which isn't the end of the world. It would have been nice if they had lost. But the Ravens lost, so now the Titans move up a peg. And now you got New England Buffalo tonight. I think it's going to be a great game. I'm very excited. Julio Jones has returned to practice. We got a lot of Titans on the show on a Titanless Reaction Monday. But I want to start on this. I got to tell you, I have an ESPN Plus membership. I think this is what time is this of me mentioning that I have an ESPN Plus membership?
Like millionth?
Like I should be sponsored by ESPN Plus, honestly, how much I talk about it. But I have become obsessed with watching all of these documentaries and sports series. And I sat in bed on Saturday. I had a long night on Friday, so I sat in bed for a lot of the early part on Saturday. And I watched like this Barry Bonds hour-long documentary. And I forgot how much of a jerk Barry Bonds was. But I think the thing about these sports documentaries is that now that I'm in my 30s, it's like a yearning for the past. Like The Last Dance. Every time I watch it, I'm like, my goodness, I remember how much I loved Michael Jordan back in the 90s. How much I loved the NBA back then when they had all these great players and there was less drama and there was less BS and there was less shoe deals and there were, they wore the iconic jerseys and I miss it. And I'm watching the new Tom Brady series, Man in the Arena. And I'm like watching this thinking, this is the football Michael Jordan. Tom Brady's greatest of all time. I have a friend who's got an 8-year-old son. He didn't like Tom Brady. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You don't like Tom Brady. You're going to remember getting to watch the greatest player who ever played. In 20 years, your kids will be like, Dad, look at this quarterback. And you'll say, oh, no, son, he's not like Tom Brady. So watch the SEC Championship game Saturday. What a clinic put on by the greatest coach of all time, Nick Saban. I want to start there. I mean, I thought it was going to be a good game. I begged all of us on Friday, hey, watch the games. Be excited about the games. The games should be good. Don't get too caught up in recruiting or, well, we know this team's going to beat that team or what. Don't get too caught up in that. Enjoy the games this weekend. I thought Baylor, Oklahoma State was a good game. I enjoyed that. I was glad Oklahoma State lost. I can't stand their coach. But I was waiting for Alabama, Georgia. I think I picked Georgia on the show on Friday.
We both did.
I thought Georgia was going to beat Alabama. And as I'm watching this game, I thought to myself, Jared, even you, the most ardent Nick Saban defender and supporter of all time, even you underestimated the greatness of Nick Saban. That's what Saturday was about. That's what the whole weekend, from a college football standpoint, was about. Michigan knocked off Iowa. Cincinnati got in the playoff. Goodbye, Mike Gundy, thank God. But the reality is, the biggest thing that everybody was talking about was what Alabama did. And you could flip coaches. You put Saban on Georgia's sideline, you put Kirby on Alabama's sideline, and you're going to get the exact same result. Only it's Georgia holding up the trophy instead of Alabama. We underestimated Nick Saban. At least the two of us did. Nick Saban even said it after the game was over, talking about the rat poison and how this time everybody underestimated Alabama.
You guys gave us a lot of really positive rat poison. The rat poison that you usually give us is usually fatal. But the rat poison that you put out there this week was yummy.
Saban just holding court. But here's the truth. We all underestimated him. He spent the whole week telling his players, nobody believes in you. Nobody thinks we can beat Georgia. Nobody's giving us a chance. But the truth is, we weren't giving him a chance. And we should have given him a chance. He owns Atlanta. He went in there in 2002 when he was a little-known coach at LSU with Matt Mock as his starting quarterback, and he beat the number 2 team in the country, the Tennessee Volunteers, and kept them out of the national championship game. And that Tennessee team was stacked. The 2002 Vols, I will always contend, 2001. The 2001 Vols, I will always contend, that is the last great team Tennessee had. And Nick Saban with Matt Mock at quarterback, Rohan Davey at quarterback, got hurt. Matt Mock went in the game. LSU beat Tennessee. He's the same Nick Saban who against Urban Meyer and Tim Tebow and Percy Harvin and Aaron Hernandez before he was a serial killer, or at least before we knew it, and that great Florida defense, the defending national champions, embarrassed them the exact same way he embarrassed Georgia this weekend. It's the same Nick Saban who 3 years ago went to a backup Jalen Hurts and put him in the game, and they came from behind and they beat the Georgia Bulldogs in the SEC championship game. It's the same guy, and he's the greatest coach of all time. He's a great strategic coach. You cannot outcoach him with a game plan. He is a great motivator when it comes to being a coach. He is relentless in how he coaches his coaches. And there is something about him that he can give his guys. We see all the videos of him yelling at guys on the practice field and Saban grabbing face masks and shaking it up. And yet he's the guy who can give his entire team confidence. I don't know how Alabama could have had confidence going into that game. I've said this all season. For Alabama, they've stunk. For what we expect of Alabama in 2021, they have stunk. They lost a game they shouldn't have to Texas A&M. Florida's not very good, played them close. LSU's not very good, played them close. Auburn's not very good by Alabama standards, played them close. This did not look like an Alabama team. But somehow Saban gets them to Atlanta and throws out the best game plan, motivates his guys, has them ready, and not only that, but he intimidated the other team too. Georgia was up 10-0, and I tweeted out, I said, Alabama's got to answer here, and if Alabama doesn't answer, it's going to be a long day. Alabama goes right down the field, touchdown. Alabama gets the ball back. Alabama immediately scores another touchdown. They're up 14-10. And in my house in Green Hills, not Atlanta, not Marietta, not DeKalb County, not Chattanooga, but in my house 4 hours away, I could feel Kirby Smart melting on the sidelines. Did you feel Kirby melt? Alabama made it 14-10. He knew who his daddy was, and he was like, oh, no, here we go. Oh, no. Not again. Not like the national championship game. Not like the SEC championship game. The only way Kirby can get to the national championship game is if he doesn't have to play. The only way to win the SEC title is if he doesn't have to play Saban. Because that's what happened in 2018 when they went to the national championship game, or 2017. They went to the national championship game because they played Auburn. But it's different when it's Nick Saban. Nick Saban he literally can intimidate an entire team. He melted Kirby Smart. He melted Stetson Bennett. He melted that legendary Georgia defense that we talked about. The Georgia defense being as good as the LSU offense from 2 years ago. They didn't all of a sudden wake up in their beds in Atlanta, roll out on the field, and decide not to play well. That's Saban. That's Saban. And I just looked at this game and I thought, even me, the biggest Nick Saban homer there ever was, even me, I underestimated him. And when you watch it, you're reminded, no, this is the greatest coach of all time. And this is what the greatest coach of all time does. What a game plan by Nick Saban. What the fear tack down 10-0 to a defense that had allowed like 14 points to every team all season. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. And look, Bryce Young's going to win the Heisman, and the wide receiver is unbelievable like all the other wide receivers. But I've seen this Alabama team play this year. I didn't see the offensive line blocking like that. I didn't see the defense smothering people like they were on Saturday. And not only that, the game plan, the one thing I had said about Georgia is they have no quarterback. I've said it all year. They're trying to win the old school Alabama way with no quarterback. Like how Nick Saban won with John Parker Wilson and he won with Greg McElroy and those guys. Not Tua, not Jalen Hurts, not Bryce Young, Jacob Coker, how he won with him. But you're not going to beat Nick Saban doing that. You don't beat Nick Saban with no quarterback. What did Saban do? He took away the run and he put the ball in the kid's hands. And Stetson Bennett had no chance because he doesn't belong on the field with those Alabama players. And when you look back to the teams that beat Nick Saban, you better have a quarterback. Johnny Manziel in Texas A&M, they beat Nick Saban. Deshaun Watson at Clemson, they beat Nick Saban. Trevor Lawrence at Clemson, they beat Nick Saban. The one team you can argue didn't have a great quarterback that beat Saban was Ohio State. And that was with Cardale Jones. And for like a 4-week period, Cardale Jones played like the number 2 pick in the NFL draft. So you're not going to walk into a game like that with no quarterback and go beat Nick Saban. But I just think we needed a refresher. I don't know if Brady winning a Super Bowl was that way last year, where you watch the guy win 6 in New England and all of a sudden he wins one at Tampa Bay and it's like, oh my goodness gracious. Here's Tom Brady winning another Super Bowl. He's the greatest of all time. I don't know if we needed that when Jordan came back from basketball and it was like, or from baseball, and it was like, okay, now Michael comes back, but, he beats the Sonics. He goes out and beats the Jazz and he beats them. Oh, wow, Michael's great. But I just hope that you all feel, after that game Saturday, I just hope you all feel the exact same way that I remember feeling as an 8-year-old when Michael Jordan hit the shot at Utah and held the follow-through. And Bob Costas had a great line. If that's the last shot in the career of the greatest of all time. Now, I don't think this is going to be Nick's last game. And I don't think this is going to be Nick's last great game. But I was sitting there Saturday thinking, oh, my God. What a treat to get to watch Nick Saban. He's the greatest coach of all time. And on Saturday, he made everybody remember it. Oh, my goodness. I could not get over it. What a performance. 615-737-1025. I've been told our phones are down, which is not good for a Reaction Monday, but we do have our text line. So go to the text line. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. And Georgia. the other side of this. Oh, Ian says he thinks the phones are back.
Woohoo.
So get in. 615-737-1025. Georgia and Kirby. Man, we'll get to them next. And I got another take, by the way. I got a lot of Big Ten fans that are friends. I don't know why I have friends who like Big Ten football, but apparently I do. And I got to get to some of the things they're saying after this weekend as well. So, I mean, college football, we're going to start on that. And, again, it was a great weekend of NFL, which we're going to get to, and the ramifications for the Titans, and Julio Jones might be back and all of that. We're starting on college today, and I just want to start with the ode to Nick Saban. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Reaction Monday is powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and Focus Energy. Again, Focus is sparkling water with a spark. DrinkFocus.com. Let me tell you about my friends at Focus. That's right. I absolutely love them. You see, I got my Focus right here. A buddy of mine, PHOCUS, a buddy of mine was in town last weekend, and he was looking around the house. He's like, you got any coffee? And I don't drink coffee. So I'm like, no, I don't have any coffee, but I got to Focus. And he downed a Focus, and he was like, I love it. And I'm telling you, everybody has felt that way. They are available now at your local Publix, or you can get them online. Drink Focus, PHOCUS, drinkfocus.com. They got a full lineup of flavors, including 4 new flavors that are outstanding, and you can get them delivered right to your door. Enter promo code GAME, G-A-M-E, at checkout for 15% off your first order. Focus is sparkling water, but it's got that caffeine spark, the natural tea caffeine. So you get all that energy without sugar, calorie, or crash. You'll see Rick Pitino on the sidelines coaching basketball, and he's got a Focus. You'll see me hosting the radio show. I've got a Focus. You'll see Katie George on the sidelines for ESPN. She's got a Focus. DrinkFocus.com. Focus is also, again, available at your local Publix. That's PHOCUS on the web at drinkfocus.com.
1025 The Game and Cromwell Media are teaming up with Souls for Souls this holiday season for Souls for Music City.
Thank you to everyone who's helping us.
Every $20 donation equals a brand new pair of athletic shoes for a local child experiencing homelessness in Middle Tennessee.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Log on to thegamenashville.com/shoes to learn more on how you can help bring a smile to a child's face at a time of need. Souls for Music City is brought to you by Newton Motor Group.
Thank you so much.
It's hockey time in Smashville. Come check out your Nashville Predators in action against the Calgary Flames and Colorado Avalanche December 14th and 16th at Bridgestone Arena. We can already see you in gold, giving us your best. Let's go, Predators. Tickets are available now, and the Preds are on fire. See leading goal scorer Matt Duchene and Captain Roman Yossi in action. Don't wait. Grab your tickets today. NashvillePredators.com/tickets. It's the Preds against the Flames and the Avalanche December 14th and 16th.
Attention Nice List recipients, the Mercedes-Benz winter event is here. Make this season your reason. Forget the halls, deck the garage. Hark, the turbo engines sing. Like hot cocoa in a blizzard, this opportunity won't last long. Hurry for these exclusive offers from Nashville's 2-time Best of the Best award-winning Mercedes-Benz of Music City. Just one exit from the airport. Go to mbofmc.com.
Your home value is way up. Why not use it to make your home even nicer with a new kitchen or bathroom? Hey, Willie here. So many of our listeners are doing this with Loan Pronto, thanks to their zero-cost cash-out refi program. Call Loan Pronto now. They're fast-tracking home refis for the year-end, and people are getting checks for 60, 70, 100 grand or more. It's fast and easy. It's your money, money you can use to add even more value to your home. Imagine 2022 with that all-new luxurious kitchen you've been dreaming about, or start building that pool so it's going to be ready for the summer. Call Loan Pronto now. See how easy it is to use the equity in your home and walk away with the big check. They can even pay your closing costs, and you can skip your next 2 house payments. Call 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. Not all loans apply.
If you've missed any of today's show, just search Stillman and Company on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.
Here comes the blitz. Down the middle and on the fly. Jamison Williams, extra speed on the gas and gone. Touchdown. Just like that, Alabama with the answer.
Well, I'm extremely proud of our coaching staff, our players, the entire organization. We've probably had to overcome more adversity, and this team has had to endure and have more resiliency from a competitive standpoint than probably most of the teams that we've ever had. And I'm really proud of them for that. Also, the competitive character that they have.
There you go. That was Nick Saban on Saturday, the greatest coach of all time. And Caroline Fenton doesn't like Nick Saban. She's the only person I know that is a SEC football fan who does not like Nick Saban. Ian, you remember the discussion we had Friday, right, about Caroline saying that most of the SEC doesn't like Nick Saban?
I do remember that.
Okay, so I asked my friend who's an Arkansas fan. She's also a doctor.
Uh-huh.
And I said, Does
that make her more qualified for liking Nick Saban?
Yes. Do you like Nick Saban? And she said yes. And then said, it's not like Lane Kiffin, Bobby Petrino, or Urban Meyer, who most everybody kind of dislikes.
And it would be for different reasons. Like, I dislike Urban Meyer for different reasons, but I dislike Nick Saban. I have the utmost respect for Nick Saban.
Not the
utmost respect for fingers and buttholes.
Okay. I asked my friend who's a Florida fan if he liked Nick Saban. He said yes. I asked my friend who's a Mississippi State fan who said yes. I texted my buddy who works at LSU, and he said he likes Nick Saban. You're the only person who doesn't like Nick Saban.
So out of 5 people that you asked,
you're the one.
I'm the one.
Yes.
And so out of all 5 people,
Ian likes Nick Saban. I like Nick Saban.
Are you two SEC fans?
I would say I'm an SEC fan.
No, I'm not necessarily.
First of all, I grew up a Vanderbilt fan. And when you grow up a Vanderbilt fan, what that really means is, and this was when Tennessee was good, that means you grow up rooting against Tennessee. So just like how everybody with their dad or their grandpa or their, my daddy watched the Auburn game every week and we love Auburn and go Auburn. My dad and I watch Tennessee every week, and we root against them. So it was one week, go LSU. The next week, it was go Florida. The next week, it was go Georgia. So I think that makes you more of an SEC fan than the average SEC fan, because the average SEC fan is rooting for their own team.
Whereas so you are more of an SEC fan than I am.
Sure, because when you're because I'll put it to you like this. Other than Tennessee, growing up, I don't care who it was. If they were an SEC team and they were playing in the championship against a non-SEC team, I was rooting for the SEC team. Every time.
I think that's also kind of normal. Growing up, I was a huge Tennessee fan, and if it was an SEC team, I would root for the SEC
even
team,
Florida?
And I still do that now. Yeah, even Florida, even Alabama. When Alabama played Notre Dame, I wanted Alabama to win so badly in that national championship. I think that's just an SEC thing.
So that makes me an SEC fan, and as an SEC fan, I think that most everybody except for you likes Nick Saban. Now,
I would say that you are wrong.
Even though you don't like Nick Saban, your thoughts on Saban's coaching performance on Saturday?
I mean, I said it on Saturday morning in Southeastern Carolines. I said there are 2 ways that Alabama could win. 1, Bryce Young can just win him the game. And 2, Nick Saban is just that kind of coach. That if, all season you could look like a team that wasn't as good as the team that you were going to have to beat. All season, I don't think that Alabama looked like the best team in the SEC, that looked like the best team in the country, because they hadn't. But if there's any coach in college football that can coach their team up, that can execute a game plan where they can beat a team that all season has looked better than them, it's Nick Saban. And that's exactly what he did. The game plan, Alabama's offensive line, where was that line all season?
Nope.
Where was that blocking all season? Just being able to completely shut down Georgia's defense, the best defense that I had seen in a very long time. Georgia had given up 17 points, the most points they've given up all season, 17 points to the Vols. Alabama scored 24 in the second quarter alone. That is just outcoached, using the talent that you have, using the talent to be able to break down their biggest strengths and capitalizing on their biggest weaknesses. That's exactly what they did. And it's because of Nick Saban.
I think the 3 things Saban did. 1 is, I think he decided, just like what the Titans did with Mac Jones a couple weeks ago, he said, I'm putting the ball in Stetson Bennett's hands. Like, Stetson Bennett has to beat me. Because we all knew going into this game He wasn't Joe Burrow. He wasn't Deshaun Watson. He wasn't Johnny Football.
He never needed to be.
No, but
he never needed to be.
But Nick was going to make him. Like, okay, if you're going to beat me, and I've been there. When I worked in women's basketball, we'd have scouting reports, and we'd say, hey, if this girl hits this shot from this spot, we lose. And I think Saban went in there saying, if Stetson Bennett throws for 285 yards, doesn't turn the football over, we're going to lose. But let's make him do it. And they did, and he couldn't. The other side of it is, I don't know if Saban is just so intimidating that this would happen to every coach, but there is something about Kirby Smart where Nick Saban absolutely melts him. And I thought Kirby's decision to go for it down by 14 in the third quarter showed you exactly where Kirby's head was. I mean, it's like simple. It's 4th and 9. They throw to the end zone on 3rd and 9, and it's like, well, if you're going to throw to the end zone on 3rd and 9, then you're going to kick the field goal, because if not, you're going to throw it short for about 5 yards to set up a 4th and 4 or 4th and 3 and go from there. So they take a shot to the end zone on 3rd down. It's 4th and 9, and he leaves the quarterback who hasn't completed a good pass all day out there to go play. What? Kirby was totally out of his element. And this is now like, what, the 3rd time in a row? I mean, I'm taking away last year's game where I thought Alabama was just a lot better than Georgia. Mm-hmm. Outside of that, Alabama, Georgia, SEC title game. Kirby runs that stupid fake punt for Justin Fields. They lose. Jalen Hurts comes in relief, and they lose. Total choke job by Georgia. National championship the year before. Tua comes in the game at halftime, goes to overtime. Total choke job by Georgia. There's something about Kirby that he just cannot handle Nick Saban. And the other thing that I have about Saban with this is when it comes to giving credit. Like, remember a Titans game where I gave all the credit to Derrick Henry, and everyone's like, well, you got to give credit to this guy. You got to give credit to that guy. You got to give it. I'm like, no. Bill O'Brien's the offensive coordinator. Best offensive game all season long against the Georgia Bulldogs. We're going to give Bill O'Brien credit for that because I've seen Saban have a lot of different offensive coordinators, and I've seen Saban do that to a lot of different people. Bryce Young's going to win the Heisman off of this game on Saturday. And Bryce Young's good. And I think Bryce Young is like the perfect mixture of Jalen Hurts and Tua. It's like you take those two guys, put them together, it's Bryce Young. But do you think Nick Saban could have done that with another quarterback? I do.
Yeah.
I do, because I've seen Nick Saban do it with that. Saban every year loses his defensive coordinator. Every other year loses his offensive coordinator. Loses all these recruits, goes out and brings in new ones. Has to bring in all new coaching staffs because he loses his guys to either get better jobs elsewhere or one of his assistants goes to be a head coach and they take half the Alabama staff with him, and he has to go get a whole new staff, and he has to bring them all back in, and he has to teach them how to recruit Alabama, and he has to – and guess what? It's the same every time. That game on Saturday, that game was exactly, in my opinion, like the 2009 SEC championship game where Nick Saban beat Florida and Urban Meyer and Tim Tebow was in tears on the sideline at the end of the game. Where you respected you respected Florida in that game. They were the defending national champions. They had a great coach, a great team. They had a bunch of guys go to the pros. They could have won the national championship. And Saban out-game planned them and just beat them to a pulp. And that's exactly what he did Saturday. And I can't get over it from Saban. I can't. And the other side of it has to be the Kirby side, which is, how is it that in a 4-year period, you could have the best team in college football 2 of the 4 years, and no matter what you do, you can't get around Nick Saban?
I mean, that's not a problem exclusive to Georgia. It's a problem.
Who else has had, like Dabo's had, over a 4-year period, had 2 teams that were probably the best team in the country, and he beat Nick. Yeah. He's beat Nick twice.
Yes. I mean, Nick Saban is beatable.
Urban in 2014, and you look at 2014 Alabama, 2014 Ohio State. Game was Sugar Bowl. Mm-hmm. I mean, look at the rosters. They're all in the NFL. Everybody, except for the quarterbacks, everybody is in the NFL from that game. You had Derrick Henry versus Ezekiel Elliott. You had Joey Bosa. You had Amari. I mean, it's just unbelievable. If you look at those teams. And, I mean, I go back to this, and I'm like, Urban lost to Nick, but Urban's beaten Nick. Dabo's lost to Nick, but Dabo's beaten him. Jimbo beat Nick this year.
Mm-hmm.
Kirby can't beat him. Gus Malzahn. Gus, for all his shortcomings at Auburn, which I don't think Auburn should have ever fired him. I think it's total Saban jealousy that they fired him.
But he beat Saban last year.
He beat Saban.
2 years ago.
Gus beats Saban. Almost every other year it feels like Gus beats Saban. And yet Kirby just can't do it. And I don't know if this is a Kirby thing. And I don't think it's – I saw somebody text the text line, Kirby can't coach. Well –
that's not true.
I think it is when he's facing Nick, he can't coach.
Or is it a postseason thing?
I think it's a Nick thing. Because he didn't have that problem against Auburn in the SEC title game, and he didn't have that problem when he came back against Oklahoma in the Rose Bowl, but he gets into the championship game against Nick, and he can't. And I don't know if it's that Kirby, it's one of two things. It's either Kirby gets scared of Nick Saban, which I think is possible, or Nick knows him so well that Nick knows exactly what buttons to push.
I think it's the latter. I think it's Nick Saban knows Kirby Smart very well. Nick Saban is going to watch. Nick Saban and Nick Saban coach teams are going to watch more film of their opponent than probably any other team, especially when you are knocking on the door of being eliminated from the college football playoff. I think that Nick Saban just knows what to do to win games. And I think that he studied that Georgia team, and I think that he knows Kirby Smart well enough that he knows how to beat him. Being afraid of Nick Saban, like, maybe there's some truth there, but I just don't buy it.
You didn't feel it Saturday?
I don't buy it completely.
Oh, I felt it.
Maybe Kirby started to get stomped down, but I don't think he went into that game afraid of Nick Saban.
Oh, well, I don't think he...
I don't think he stays up at night worrying about Nick Saban.
Oh, I bet he stays up at night worrying about Nick Saban. But I bet you Kirby, when he looks in the mirror, he can't admit to himself.
He won't tell himself.
That he's got a Saban problem. But he's got a Saban problem. I mean, I'll tell you, I definitely felt like Kirby choked this game. Like when he went for it on that 4th down, 4th and 9 with a quarterback that can't throw.
Yeah. I mean, that's just, I feel like that's you losing your football IQ because you just want so badly to capitalize off of an opportunity.
You lost control of the game.
You need to step back and you need to do what is best for your game.
You were so afraid of Saban that you lost control of the game, which most coaches don't. Harbaugh yesterday, I could not believe it watching the Steeler game when they went for 2.
Oh, my gosh.
Now, Harbaugh loves to go for it.
I don't.
And he is a go for it with the Ravens. In fact, they lost a playoff game to the Titans because they went for it twice. They didn't get it.
And it worked out for them earlier this season.
But you got the best kicker. So all you got to do, it wasn't like Ben was lighting it up yesterday. All you have to do is get a one stop in overtime and then get the ball to the 40 and you win. That's all you have to do. But Harbaugh he got taken away with it, and Kirby got taken away with it. And I think Kirby is so scared. If I'm Kirby, I am sending Cincinnati every little info packet that I have developed over the last week getting ready for Alabama. I send all the film cut-ups so you don't have to, hey, Cincinnati, get a head start on preparation for Alabama because I don't want to see them in the championship game if I'm Kirby. Let's get to your phones next. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Plus, I got some Big Ten friends that seriously got to bring it down a notch. We'll get to that as well. Stillman & Company Reaction Monday, powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and by Focus, sparkling water with a spark. We're going to give away some Preds tickets later for Thursday night's game, later today in the show, and we will be excited about that. Let me tell everybody, do you want to win a pair of tickets to see the Predators take on Calgary next Tuesday night? And by the way, this game is next Thursday, not Thursday. But do you want to win a pair of Preds tickets to see the Predators take on Calgary on Tuesday, December 14th? Head over to YouTube and subscribe to the 102.5 The Game YouTube page and enter for your chance to see the Predators and the Flames. Once you subscribe, email us at promotions@cromwellmedia.com with your YouTube handle. One winner will be chosen on Monday, December 13th. Stillman & Company, it's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Tuesday night.
Scored! Matt Duchene scores on the power play.
Matt Duchene and the Predators head north for another road trip starting in the Motor City against the Red Wings. Pre-game at 5, face-off at 6 on Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Gary Ashton here. Most people in Nashville know me as the don't sell without the intel and the guaranteed offer guy. But despite my accent, I'm also 100% guaranteed Nashville. I'm a guaranteed musician, a guaranteed dog lover, and you're also guaranteed to see me at every Titans and Preds game. Guaranteed offer means the Gary Ashton team with RE/MAX Advantage will sell your house for top dollar with no cleaning, staging, showings, or open houses, and give you up to 90 days to close. So there's plenty of time to find your next home. Guaranteed Nashville means my team lives here and loves it here. We've served Nashville for over 20 years, and we're passionate about helping the people we call neighbors and friends, which is why we've had a long-standing tradition of donating to the Vanderbilt Children's Hospital. If you're thinking about a guaranteed offer, get the only one that's guaranteed Nashville. Request a no-obligation offer by calling 615-301-1650 or go to GaryAshton.com today. Remember, Gary Ashton, guaranteed Nashville.
It's the end of the year blowout sale at Social Furniture. Save up to 70% off Ashley Furniture. Social Furniture has truckloads of the best selection of furniture. Get your nightstands, mattresses, bar stools, sofas, and recliners. All on sale now. Come first for the best selection of furniture before it's gone. And you don't want to miss out. Visit Social Furniture on the west side at 5412 Charlotte Avenue. On the web at mysocialfurniture.com. Social Furniture is a proud supporter of your Nashville Predators.
Do great prices and selection on trucks and SUVs still exist? They do in Truckville. Sarah Chevrolet Buick GMC of Nashville has the largest selection in Tennessee. And we keep getting fresh stock on our lots every day. We're committed to offering you our best price and a 5-star experience, which is why we're still known as the destination for trucks and SUVs. Come visit Truckville, Tennessee today in person or online at sarahnashville.com.
Men, what if I told you that now you're able to get testosterone replacement therapy in the comfort of your own home? No more weekly trips to the doctor's office. We come to you 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. Be seen by a licensed medical professional in the privacy and comfort of your own home or office. You decide. Schedule your appointment today at CoolSpringsMDformen.com.
The Bode is one of Nashville's hottest new hotels right in the heart of Nashville and is home to Sidebar, their in-house cocktail bar. A perfect spot to go before heading to a show or as a nightcap before exploring the city. Stop by the Bode Hotel or Sidebar from now until Friday, December 17th to enter to win tickets to the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Dierks Bentley, a 2-night stay in the Bode Hotel, gift cards to Sidebar, and more. Don't miss out on a chance to win these awesome prizes and stop by the Bode at 401 2nd Avenue South in Sobro.
Tuesday night.
Brown drops it off back door, and Miles Studing hammers it home two-handed.
The Vanderbilt Commodores return to Memorial Gym for a non-conference showdown against the Temple Owls. Coverage begins at 6:30 on 93.3 Classic Hits.
And Vanderbilt wins it.
And the Classic Hits app.
This is Greg McElroy, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
And two guys that worked together for a long time, good friends, except when they get together in this building, it's more fun for Nick than it is for Kirby. Congratulations to Alabama.
There you go. More fun for Nick than it is for Kirby. I'd say that's probably about right.
I would say that sounds right.
I'd say that's probably about right. By the way, Caroline Fenton has released a poll on Twitter for SEC fans, whether or not they like Nick Saban. It should be noted, how many Twitter followers do you think you've garnered since you started working here?
I would say probably about 1,000.
Okay, and how many do you think you have?
I think I have a little over 3,000.
Okay, so about 1/3 are Nashville people.
Uh-huh.
And the rest are like LSU and St. Louis people.
Probably so, yeah.
Okay.
Or just like people, just random people.
Okay, what are the results right now of the current poll?
Right now, the current poll, 65% yes, 35% no.
Yes. Nick Saban, I told you to be over 50% favorable versus unfavorable.
Well, I put it out.
Nick's popular.
I put it out less than 15 minutes ago.
It ain't gonna change.
I mean, We have a few texters in the text line that say no, we do not like Nick Saban, and I think that it depends on the fan base.
And there are
because
some
if you're an
people-
Alabama fan, obviously yes, you do like Nick Saban.
There are some people that don't like pizza. I don't know how these people exist. I don't know why these people exist. I don't know how you can live your life without liking pizza. But there are some people that are going to be different and be like, actually, I don't like pizza. When literally everybody likes pizza.
But that's not Nick Saban isn't pizza. He's not a
He's close to
super. No, he is not. You just love him. He's not a
I do.
super
I love
likable
Saban.
guy.
I consider Nick a friend. I do love him. I love him. Let's go to your phones. 615-737-1025. Reaction Monday, powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and Focus. Sparkling water with a spark. DrinkFocus.com. Scott is going to kick us off. Phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, I think you veered into it there toward the end of the last segment. There's nothing that Saban did great coaching-wise. It's Kirby. It's in Kirby's head with Alabama. It's just, he chokes. All he had to do was just try to generate some type of pressure on the pass rush, and he's got Jordan Davis in there, clogging the middle, but Alabama's not really a threat to run on them. Auburn has some big guys on the defensive line too, but they didn't play. Auburn played, their jackrabbit package and, got after the pass rush. And it's the same thing with Nick in Jordan-Hare Stadium. I don't know if you saw him post-game. He was positively giddy about being a 6-16. I mean, maybe one of his national championships, I've seen him that happy. It was just a monkey off his back to win in there. And, certain players, certain other people get in the head. Tony Gwynn hit like 350 against Greg Maddux.
Oh,
when the
just
rest of the league
killed
was
Greg
like
Maddux.
a 75.
Yeah.
And you're probably too young for this, but
No, Scott. I will say this, and I appreciate your call. It reminds me as a kid, and I grew up, in the 90s and the early 2000s, the Boston Red Sox, before they broke the curse. Like the year before they broke the curse, they blew it against the Yankees. Pedro Martinez, Grady Little got fired because of it. The Red Sox could not beat the Yankees. And in September of 2004, Pedro Martinez got lit up at Yankee Stadium, and he goes, I don't know what I have to do, just take my hat off and call the Yankees my daddy. And all of a sudden, you got Yankee fans chanting, who's your daddy at Yankee Stadium? And that's how I feel right now about Kirby and Nick Saban. I think the caller's got a point there. The other thing I will say, though, about the Auburn thing, I don't think Saban has an Auburn problem. Floyd once told me, and I feel like he's got a fairly neutral basis for assessing this. Like, I feel like he's been in probably every big stadium in America, right? Every big college stadium in America.
Probably so.
Because when you're scouting players, you're going everywhere. He says Auburn is the hardest place for a visiting team to play in America.
Why?
I don't know. He just said it's the hardest. And, said it with, a definitive, I've been to all of them. Auburn's the hardest place to play.
Which is funny because when you think about, let's just narrow it down to the SEC, or even if you want to look at college football as a whole.
Sure.
When you think about the most menacing environments, I don't think Auburn comes to mind even in the SEC, much less college football. I think of
Have you been to a game at Auburn?
I have.
Did you feel like it was different than, say, LSU?
No, I didn't think it was more menacing. To me, it just felt like another SEC game day experience. It was a great time. I had a great time in Auburn, great people. I never got that vibe of wow. If I was on the field right now, I'd be shaking in my boots. But then again, I wasn't on the field. I didn't play a game.
I feel like all those stadiums should be the same. If they're all 100,000 fans and fans are all crazy, all of them, Texas A&M,
Texas
Florida,
A&M, I think would be menacing.
LSU,
Florida, LSU,
Georgia, Alabama, Auburn. I don't think there's any difference.
But you look at Michigan. I think that'd be a very scary place to play.
But he's convinced Auburn's the hardest place to play in the country. And there is something about the rivalry game element too that I think probably exists. What do we have in the text line?
One texter texts in, and this is something that I want to shut down. Texter says Georgia was a fraud of a number one. They will lose to Michigan by double digits.
Well, you know what? Let them. Okay. So I don't believe that either. And we'll get into this.
I think that's weak.
Georgia should have made the playoff. I have Big Ten friends that are all just crying in their boots about how dare Georgia get into the playoff when they haven't beaten anybody better than Kentucky. I understand it. I think Georgia's one of the best forward teams in the country. Nobody before Saturday was even contemplating the idea that Georgia wasn't the number one team in America. But if you're going to tell me, you watch, Georgia's a fraud, they're going to get beat by double digits, let them. Like, I got to tell you about this playoff. I think we got the 4 best teams. I think Alabama's going to beat Cincinnati, but I thought Georgia was going to beat Alabama. I thought Ohio State was going to beat Michigan. So what the hell do I know? That's why we play. And so Cincinnati deserves a chance. I'm convinced of it. Cincinnati absolutely deserves a chance. They beat the 5th best team in the country on the road. They deserve a chance to beat Alabama. Do I think they're going to beat Alabama? No. But I think they get the chance.
But yeah, that doesn't mean that they don't get the opportunity to at least prove themselves.
And Michigan might be the best team in the country. I don't know. I'm not here to tell you they are or they aren't. But we're going to find out. And somebody said, well, maybe it's not fair for Michigan that Michigan's got to go and in a 4-week period, basically, or in a 4-game period in order to win the championship, they have to beat Ohio State, then Iowa, then Georgia, then Alabama.
Well, that's how it works.
If you want to win the championship, you have to beat good teams. Like, that's the reality.
I mean, there are teams that play Georgia and Alabama every single year when they're not even competing for a national championship. So don't give me that Michigan pity party.
But I'm not like, if Michigan loses to Georgia, then they're not the best team. And if Michigan beats Georgia and then they beat Alabama, then they're the best team. And if Cincinnati beats Alabama and we get a national championship game that TV would cry about, Georgia and Cincinnati wins that, then Cincinnati's the best team. And that's why we play the game. And I'm totally fine with all of it. But yeah, no, I'm with you. Now, look, maybe Georgia's a fraud. I don't know. I'm arguing that they're one of the best 4 teams in the country today. I think they're one of the best 4 teams in the country.
I agree with you. And going into yesterday, I thought they were the best team in the country. We learned that they have holes.
I have a buddy who's a Michigan fan that was just complaining all morning yesterday about Alabama. And finally, he just says to me, I just don't want to have to play Alabama. Complaining all day about Georgia. He goes, I just don't want to play Georgia because I think they're going to beat us. Well, I would love for the Titans to not have to play Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs.
But, that's how you win a championship.
But if you draw Patrick Mahomes, you have to beat Patrick Mahomes. 615-737-1025. We're back to your phones. Plus, the second best part outside of Alabama, and it may have rivaled Alabama's win, the second best part about Saturday, and maybe it's a me thing and not an everybody thing, but I think it should be an everybody thing. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company on a Reaction Monday, 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Join ESPN The Game Nashville and Newton Motor Group as we team up this holiday season to help children in Middle Tennessee with Souls for Music City. More than 4,000 children in the metro area experience homelessness and over 18,000 in Middle Tennessee. The Game and Cromwell Media are teaming up with Souls for Souls to provide a new pair of shoes to those children who are experiencing homelessness. Souls for Souls works with our schools and community partners to deliver new shoes to kids who need them most. Newton Motor Group will be making a donation to Souls for Souls for every test drive at any of Newton Motor Group's 4 locations now through the end of the year. We need your help to give these kids the joy and confidence they deserve. For more information and to donate, thegamenashville.com/shoes. I had a great conversation or a great email I got today from the marketing director of Souls for Souls. I've already made a donation this year, so I hope you will as well. Stillman and Company, it's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Strong to severe storms will continue to track across the mid-state, mainly east of Nashville and east of I-65. Should clear the area by about noon.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Saturday means college football, and Dos Equis Lager is perfect for celebrating your team's win over that rival school, whose name we will not mention. Dos Equis is a golden Pilsner-style beer that's perfect for enjoying with friends on game day. Grab a case for your next tailgate party, game day get-together, or alone time after a devastating loss. Dos Equis, a proud sponsor of college football. Get a dose. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Copyright 2021. Recorded by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
This holiday season at Genesis Diamonds, a spectacular selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches.
Hi, I'm Charlie Rivers, and I have been a Rolex expert for a very long time.
Nashville's Charlie Rivers invites you to see the largest selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex timepieces in Tennessee.
I have never seen so many luxury pre-owned Rolex watches in one spot.
Genesis has Sea Dwellers, Datejusts, Submariners, Daytonas, Pepsis, Batmans, Air Kings, hand-selected premium timepieces in pristine condition. Watches you can't find anywhere else for men and women.
I'm so excited that I can finally give my customers what they want.
And at Genesis, there are no wait lists and no minimum spend requirements. Nothing stands in the way of you and your dream timepiece.
Come say hi, and I will help you find the perfect luxury pre-owned Rolex you've been dreaming of.
Come reward yourself or someone you love this Christmas with a luxury pre-owned Rolex. Genesis Diamonds in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
In 2007, Marine First Lieutenant Travis Manion was killed in Iraq after saving his wounded teammates. Travis's legacy lives on through the 5 words he spoke before leaving for his final deployment. If not me, then who? Words that today fuel the spirit of Travis Manion Foundation. Words that live in veterans, families of the fallen, and inspired civilians who go out of their way to find a way, who help others with the help of others, who bounce back after each setback, who make good on good intentions. Through Travis Manion Foundation, if not me, then who, are words that can live in you too. Show the world what your character is made of, because character is invisible until it's not. Find out how you can strengthen the character of your community alongside empowered veterans, families of the fallen, and inspired civilians at travismanion.org. That's travismanion.org.
Darren McFarland.
And a mulligan that we all look for in golf. Lord knows our game could use it.
Willie Donick.
Outworked and outperformed a lot of other really good players.
Chase McCabe.
I want some sort of trade protection.
Darren, Donick, and Chase have you covered weekdays from 10 to 2. Presented by Curation CBD on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
When the Predators have a weekday game this season, it's your chance to participate in Preds Pick to Click, brought to you by New Amsterdam Vodka. If you guess a Preds player that scores a goal in the game that night, you win a pair of tickets to a future Preds home game. Next chance is tomorrow morning at 8:45 a.m. You probably want an athletic subscription, so you Adam Vingan dumps on, and then whoever that is probably is going to score the next day. So there is that. So we'll get to the phones in just a second. Did you enjoy the Big 12 championship?
That was my favorite game of all of Saturday.
I loved it.
I had so much fun.
Do you know why I loved it?
Why?
Because I hate Gundy.
I know you do.
I hate Gundy.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
And I don't know if it's because when I watch Gundy press conferences, which only come up in clips like that, it's like,
right.
I'm not going to
seek it out.
Gundy,
but...
right. That he sounds like such a moron all the time. Or if it's the fact of the way that he kind of lied to Tennessee during the coaching search. Or if it's the obnoxious mullet that drives me insane. Though I don't think that's the problem. Or if it's that crazy news channel that he loved so much last year that almost cost him his job, which, by the way, is a wild story in and of itself.
It is a wild story.
I think my biggest issue with Gundy is that I don't think Gundy belongs in a discussion with any of the good coaches. So it's like, Harbaugh, we all thought was a great coach. He goes to Michigan, doesn't win any games. We then kind of sour on him as a great coach. Then this year, Harbaugh's like, no, guys, I'm still a really good coach. And it's like, okay.
And I think everyone is happy for him to have found success this season.
Harbaugh's a good
Myself
coach.
included. Happy for him.
Harbaugh's a good coach. Gundy's not a good coach. Gundy is just a sideline mullet.
Is he not a good coach, or does he just bug you?
Well, if he was a good coach.
Because he coached his team to be the 5th best team in the country.
No, is Notre Dame 5th?
No, Notre Dame was 6th. When Oklahoma State was 5. And then when Oklahoma State lost, they dropped. I don't know what they are right now, but now Notre Dame is 5th. But
if he was a good coach, he'd have better plays to call at the goal line at the end of the game. That
was the worst goal line offense I think I've ever seen. I mean, that game was gross.
And it's because Gundy's a doofus.
But also,
I'm so glad he lost. I'm so glad he lost.
Oklahoma State's quarterback, I can't think of his name.
Sanders.
Yes, threw 4 picks.
And they still almost came back to win.
They still almost won the game. That game was so gross, but it was so fun to watch.
I have to say, want to play by the Baylor linebacker? Because I thought the kid on the pitch at the end of the game was going to get to the end zone and score.
I did too. I literally yelled, game over, and then here comes this linebacker out of nowhere. Inch too short.
But I can't stand Gundy. I can't stand him.
That doesn't mean he's a bad coach.
Well, he's not. I didn't say he's a bad coach. He's not.
You said he wasn't a good coach.
He's not a good coach. He's just not.
So what's not a good coach?
An average coach.
Okay.
Gundy is...
I think he just bugs you.
No, see, Gundy's got better resources than everybody at the Big 12 that's not Texas or Oklahoma. Because T. Boone Pickens left, whatever that fortune was at Oklahoma State. And, I just don't think Gundy's that... I mean, it's like Mark Stoops, right? I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'll say it. Mark Stoops has done an incredible job at Kentucky. For Kentucky. He's done an incredible job.
Yeah.
Incredible. I know Mark Stoops. I covered him. I don't think Mark Stoops is a very bright guy, but he's a good coach. I think that's Gundy. I can't do Gundy. I cannot do Gundy. Everything about Gundy, I can't do. I can't do any of it. This is a no Gundy zone. The mullet, the terrible press conferences.
Yep.
The crazy TV channel, the goal line offense. The flirting with Tennessee.
Our sample size for the goal line offense, to be fair, is one game, but it was bad enough to be labeled as bad.
Gundy.
I don't watch a ton of Oklahoma State football, but what I did see on Saturday, worst goal line offense I have ever seen, but that was a fun game to watch.
Good. You go into that new Texas Oklahoma-less Big 12, and then I'll watch real football.
It's going to be gross.
What do we have in the text line?
One texter texts in and says, as a diehard, lifelong Georgia fan, all year I have said that Stetson Bennett is not the guy to get it done. When he's rattled, he resembles Tannehill, forcing the ball in coverages over the middle, turnover prone.
I mean, Stetson Bennett stinks, but we all knew that, right?
We said that all season long, that Georgia's quarterbacks resemble Georgia quarterbacks of the past.
What I want to know is
nothing special.
How bad's JT Daniels?
That's
all I want to know.
Better, because, he came into the season as the starter.
Did
then
he?
got hurt. Yeah, because he started the first 2-3 games for Georgia. He got hurt. Stetson Bennett came in, and I don't know if it is just like a quarterback battle in practice and Stetson Bennett continues to win.
But it's not like JT Daniels threw in that Clemson game. It wasn't like he moved the ball all down the field, up and down on Clemson.
No, but he did get the starting job coming into the season.
Well,
so
I put him out there because you're not going to beat Alabama with Stetson Bennett.
And I think that is going to be the problem with Kirby Smart moving forward is if, let's say, they beat Michigan and it's a Georgia-Alabama repeat in the national championship. If Stetson Bennett plays quarterback and JT Daniels is on the sideline healthy, I think all Georgia fans are going to point at Kirby. Like, why didn't you at least give JT Daniels a chance? Why can't you separate from Stetson Bennett?
What else we got?
One texter texts in and says, Saban has been horrible for college football. It's been so boring for the past 10 to 15 years.
How? How is Saban bad for college football?
I think you can make an argument both ways. That, Saban's bad for college football because college football feels like it's decided going into the season, but you can also argue that Saban has been good for college football because he has set a standard for the game that all other coaches try and get back up to. And look at SEC coaches right now. They're the Saban coaching tree.
So here's where I think Saban's bad for the game, is the immense amount of jealousy that the rest of the Southeastern Conference has. Gus Malzahn did a good job at Auburn, but they fired him because he didn't win as much as Saban. Ed Orgeron won a national championship 22 months ago, and he got fired because he was falling behind what everybody thought LSU should be in comparison to Saban. And now it's like the first second you don't like your coach, it's like fire the coach because everybody wants to be Saban. And Kirby is the example of, see what happens when you make the move. Mark Richt won a lot of games here, but we fired him, and now look at us. And so I think that's probably bad for the SEC, that Saban jealousy syndrome. But as far as, Alabama's greatness, you know that when the Yankees or the Lakers or the Cowboys when those teams are good, that's good for the sport. That's good. It would be good for baseball to have a World Series instead of the boring Houston Astros. To have the Yankees play the Cubs in the World Series would be good. Do you know what TV desperately wants? What they are just pining for in the offices at ESPN? Michigan and Alabama.
Oh, 100%.
Because the ratings for that would be astronomical. And so, the highest rated games this year, Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama, Auburn, Michigan. I mean, those are the highest rated games. You can't tell me Saban's bad for the sport. What's next?
Another texter texted. Well, we have input from Auburn fans and Florida fans, both saying that they hate Saban and Alabama. So, a couple more on my court.
I think if you listen to this show and you like Saban, you're not going to take out your phone to text in that you like Saban. You're just in the car listening to man, Caroline's crazy because she thinks all these people don't like Saban.
But you told me that out of all the people, all the SEC fans, I'm the only one who dislikes Saban.
Right,
I'm the only one, and I'm not the only one.
Right, but I don't know these people that are texting into the text line. My point is, there's a handful of people in the country that don't like pizza, and if you really hate pizza, you're going to take your phone out to text in 615-737-135. I hate Saban too. I hate Saban.
But
that's what that
there's
is.
nothing unlikable about pizza.
What's your bad for you?
Okay, well, other than that.
Pizza's really bad for you.
Well, that doesn't stop me from eating it.
No, because everybody loves pizza. What's your poll numbers on the Nick Saban do people like him poll?
69-31.
That's not changing.
No, that's not. And you might be right. You might be right. But I just happen to come from a school that absolutely despises the man.
Coming up next, good news for the Titans. And boy, was it entertaining. I'll explain next here on Stillman & Company. It's Reaction Monday, powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. And by Focus, sparkling water with a spark. TriStar Moving, they're the presenting sponsors of this show, and they are my official movers. I've been telling you about TriStar Moving for well over a year now. And when I moved, I hated moving, but I used TriStar, and they made the process so simple. That's why their motto is TriStar Movers with 5-star service. From the initial phone call to the final signature, moving was a breeze. They offer home protection, so they cover the floors, banisters, railings, door jams, and even the doors themselves. They are always upping the game when it comes to mover training. Everything in my move was done perfectly. I actually was back at the old house that I moved out of. Not a scratch anywhere because TriStar did a fantastic job. Their owners, Garrett and Robert, are true Nashvillians who truly care about helping their hometown. This company is the real deal and on the rise quickly, all because of the standard they hold. So if you're looking to move, give my friends at TriStar Moving a call, 615-640-1219. It's NashvilleMoving.org/radio, where they'll give you 5% off your entire move. That's TriStar Moving, 615-640-1219, NashvilleMoving.org/radio. Tell them Jared Stillman sent you for TriStar Moving, my official movers.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Weekday mornings from 5 to 9.
Did you see the Tennessee Titans? He has all the weapons to make it happen.
There's so much to pay attention to. Greeny from 9 to 11.
Ryan Tannehill is the most disrespected player.
Art and Han from 11 to 2.
You never stop punching. They've got to learn how to close the deal.
And the Paul Feinbaum Show afternoons from 2 to 6.
Are these legitimate contenders to the party?
Your exclusive home for ESPN Radio in the Music City.
ESPN
94.9 and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hey, this is Jared, the owner of MTGRT.com. Have you heard about those pesky appraisal gaps? We have too. That's why for our buyers, we create a custom appraisal gap analysis. You know what? A strong appraisal gap analysis from MTGRT.com helps prepare your offer for what could be. Let us help you make your dream home a reality. Text me on my cell today at 615-969-2257 or schedule time for us to talk online at MTGRT.com.
Hey, it's Jared. Your body needs water. That doesn't mean it has to be boring. And I'm here to tell you to give Focus a try. Focus is a sparkling water with a spark. It's infused with a boost of natural tea caffeine so you get clean energy without sugar, calories, or crash. Go to drinkfocus.com to find the full lineup of flavors and get them delivered right to your door. Enter promo code GAME at checkout for 15% off your first order. Focus is also available at your local Publix. That's Focus, P-H-O-C-U-S, on the web at drinkfocus.com.
Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is here to serve you. Is your AC or heating unit old and inefficient? Is it breaking down yearly? Now is the time to replace it. Waiting can cost you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Just like everything, the cost of a new AC unit is rising. Effective January 1st, all manufacturers are increasing prices up to 10%. Get ahead of the game and call Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, offering 60 months, no interest financing, and 10-year parts and labor warranty on all new units. Schedule now at springhillac.com or call 615-778-8855.
Hi, this is Todd Rodermel with the Omni Nashville Hotel. We have a lot to be grateful for this year, and I wanted to personally say thank you to our customers in Nashville and throughout the Middle Tennessee area. We hope everyone has a safe and happy holiday season.
Nashville's best sports talk. Locally owned. Home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT FM Pegram. 97.5 Murfreesboro. WBUZ HD2 Laverne. Online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, ESPN 102.5 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. Reaction Monday, powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and sparkling water with a spark. Focus, P-H-O-C-U-S, drinkfocus.com. So I watched as much football as I could handle yesterday. I love sports. I love the NFL. I don't think you could do this job if you didn't love sports. I don't think you'd do this job if you didn't love the NFL. But I cannot sit on the couch and watch a noon football game and watch a 3 o'clock football game and watch a 7 o'clock football game on a Sunday after watching football on Saturday. So I had to have some breaks here or there.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I watched a lot of the games yesterday. I started off watching the Bengals and the Chargers because that kind of had some Titan implications. And I said you need to root for the Chargers. And I watched the Chargers dominate the Bengals for a half. And then I watched the Bengals kind of come back and find a way to make it interesting, but not enough. And I think both teams are incredibly flawed. I think both teams have quarterbacks that could beat the Titans. But all the other early games stunk up the joint. So I watched Red Zone at the end and got excited when the Lions won, even though that didn't have anything to do with the Titans.
That was exciting, though. I was happy for Dan Campbell.
But I needed to make sure that I watched the Ravens and the Steelers. And you needed the Steelers to win. Like the Titans needed the Steelers to win. Now, I have been on record as saying that I do not think the Baltimore Ravens are very good. And I know that the NFL, every game comes down to the wire. So if we say, well, they should have lost the Indy game, and they should have lost the Lions game, and they should have lost this game, and they should have lost that game. But with the Ravens, when I watch them play, I think to myself, they're not very good. Every time they're on TV, they played the Raiders the first week. I didn't think they were very good. They played the Colts on TV. I didn't think they were very good. Played the Dolphins on Thursday Night Football. I didn't think they were very good. I'm just not a huge Ravens guy. And I'm watching the game, and I watched that game because, again, the Ravens winning yesterday is the number 1 seed in the AFC. And I, once again, was so incredibly underwhelmed by the Baltimore Ravens. And I was so incredibly underwhelmed by Lamar Jackson. Did you see the interception Lamar Jackson threw yesterday on second down inside the 30 where he just started sprinting back, pass rusher in his face. He just starts running back, throws a ball into the end zone aimlessly off his back foot right into the hands of Minka Fitzpatrick. Mm-hmm. Dude, this is the NFL. You can't do that. And so Lamar did that.
Offense overall was just incredibly sloppy.
I thought the Steelers actually played okay. I think the Steelers have an okay team. I don't think they have a good team. I think the Steelers have an okay team. But I watched that game, and I'm like, you need the Ravens to lose so that you can be done with the Ravens, or not done with the Ravens, but not have to worry about chasing around the Ravens. Their schedule's very tough down the stretch, and I was very encouraged. If you're a Titan fan, you should be too. Very encouraged by how sloppy the Ravens looked. Then I watched the Sunday night game. So I watched the Chargers play. And the first half, I thought the Chargers with Justin Herbert and that right cannon of an arm he's got. And I'm like, dude, I don't know why the Chargers don't beat more teams. And then in the second half, they turned the football over, and they didn't play very good defense. And I'm like, okay, the Chargers have an okay team. The Steelers have an okay team. The Ravens, in my opinion, have an okay team. So then I watched the Chiefs. I thought the Chiefs played okay. I thought the Chiefs, they did what they had to do. I thought that Teddy Bridgewater did not play well for Denver yesterday. I thought Denver didn't coach well. I thought Denver was afraid to be on that stage with Kansas City. You have a 20-play drive, and your game plan is to eat up clock, and you're down, 10-3 at the time, and you don't kick a field goal in the first half? And I think that after that, they were chasing points the whole night. But I thought the Chiefs looked okay. I think the Chiefs, certainly think the Chiefs are better than the Ravens. Watch that game. So, okay, Chiefs might be a problem for the Titans down the stretch, but certainly not dominating effort from the Chiefs. Tonight, you got the Bills and the Patriots, the two teams that I think right now, given all the injuries to the Titans, are probably better than the Titans. But I don't think the Patriots are that much better than Tennessee. And the Titans have already beaten Buffalo. So I'm watching the NFL right now, and I think you have to feel better about the Titans watching all these other teams play, except for one. I watched the Texans play the Colts yesterday. I don't know how the Titans lost that game. And the question has to be, was that a one-game fluke where they had some injuries, Vrabel didn't coach very well, Tannehill didn't take care of the football, and it was a one-game fluke? Or is this what the Titans are with everybody hurt? Because today they announced that Julio Jones is going to return to practice. That's going to be a big addition if Julio comes back because they don't have anybody right now. But it's not all what you need. You need to get Bud Dupree back. You need to get Derrick Henry back. You need to get all this. But, I mean, the Texans, it's criminal how bad that team is.
They're bad.
It's criminal. And I felt bad. I was over at my parents' house. My dad has, Sunday ticket. So I was over there watching the different games, and then I got Red Zone channels, so I'm watching that. I mean, if you're like the average person who just gets whatever games they give you, Colts and Texans yesterday, and Falcons, Buccaneers. Awful early slate yesterday here.
Yeah, it was underwhelming games yesterday.
Now, the Steelers and Ravens, that was a good game. But
coming down to the wire.
I got to tell you, I think I've determined that right now the AFC, and the Titans are in this group because of all the injuries, and maybe they stay there. But right now in the AFC, there is not one definitively really good team. Now, maybe New England proves tonight they're it. Because if they go into Buffalo and they smoke the Bills, and remember, the Patriots haven't had a bye week yet. They go into Buffalo and they smoke the Bills, then maybe we can talk about the Patriots being clearly the best team in the AFC. But I think everybody's kind of all together right now. And Derrick Henry won you enough games earlier in the season that you should get a pretty decent seed if you can just take care of business. I was playing with the New York Times playoff simulator. If the Titans go 4-1 down the stretch, so they lose a game to either the 49ers, who did not look good yesterday, the 49ers or the Steelers, the Titans still have a plus 50% chance of being the number one seed in the AFC. Now, if they lose 2 games, they got no chance of being the number one seed in the AFC. But if they lose 1 game, they still are plus 50% at being the number one seed. I think all these teams are together, though. I think the Steelers, the Chargers, the Bengals, the Ravens, the Colts, the Titans, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Raiders, I think all those teams are together right now.
You put the Patriots in there?
I'm not sure. We'll see tonight. But right now I will. The Patriots. You put all those teams together and you shake them up and you just pick a name out. Because that's what it looks like right now in the AFC. In the NFC, I can tell you that right now it's Arizona and Green Bay. Tampa Bay and Dallas are kind of lurking, but it doesn't look like they're getting much better. I think it's those 2 teams. I think it's Arizona and it's Green Bay. In the AFC, I think there's a lot of posturing here. I think there's a lot of everybody's kind of the same. And that's where Derrick comes in, because I think if the Titans get Derrick Henry back, it elevates them above everybody else. Derrick Henry and Bud Dupree, you're the best team in the AFC. But that's my take from watching these games and that's why the number one seed's so important, because when we think of who the best teams in the AFC are, I think we would all agree that deep down inside it's probably New England, Buffalo, and Kansas City, outside of the Titans. Like, I'm not putting the Ravens with those 3 teams.
I would agree.
I don't think the Ravens belong.
I think the Ravens have found themselves so much success early on in the season because they had one of the most valuable players in the league
Well, he's gone to crap right now. But
he was playing like the league MVP at one point, and now it doesn't look like he is.
I honestly think
that's fair.
I honestly think the Ravens were never really that good. But because every time I watched them, I'm like, yeah. And remember they lost to the Dolphins, and it was like, wait a minute, this Ravens team is – I think they've had a lot of, good wins at the end kind of thing. I mean, I thought Lamar stunk yesterday. I mean, I was embarrassed watching. I'm a Louisville guy. That
final touchdown pass was nice.
I'm a Louisville guy. I mean, when you're paid $40 million, you're expected to make some nice touchdown passes. Jared Goff had a very nice touchdown pass at the end of his game. I just don't think Lamar is good enough to carry the team. And that's where they are right now with all their injuries. But I'm not putting the Ravens there. So I think right now it's, Tennessee just by default. And then it's, New England, Buffalo, Kansas City. Well, if you get the number 1 seed in the AFC, then I'm telling you, one of these Chargers, Bengals, Raiders, one of these teams, Steelers, is taking out one of the good teams.
There are Titans in the mix there.
But if you're the 1 seed, you don't have to play them.
Yes.
So one of those teams is taking out one of the other teams. Buffalo, Kansas City, New England. And then guess what? You get to play that team if you're the 1 seed. So let's use the Bengals for an example. I'd rather play the Bengals than have to play the Patriots, the Bills, or the Chiefs.
I think anyone would agree with you there.
So if the Bengals go on the road in the first round of the playoffs and they knock off the Bills, then because they're the lowest seed remaining, you automatically get the Bengals in the second round of the playoffs. That's the road. That's the way to do it. If you have Derrick Henry, you shouldn't lose to the Bengals. So that was my take from watching yesterday. I watched pretty much all the games yesterday, and I'm sitting here watching the AFC, and I just don't see a dominant team. I just don't see a great team out there that makes me think if the Titans don't get Derrick Henry back, and if they don't play the way they're capable of playing, which I'm scared that they would come out and not play to that standard because their quarterback right now is not playing to that standard, I think they easily could run through the AFC. I just do not. Now, we'll see tonight because tonight's a big one. But yesterday, especially the Ravens, I mean, first of all, the Ravens might be as hurt as the Titans. But on top of it, I mean, they look like they're going the wrong way. And I think the Steelers played a good game. But I think the Ravens are going the wrong way. Well, let's get your reaction on it. 615-737-1025 is the phone number, 615-737-1025. Plus, 2 guys that if one thing had gone their way yesterday would be the most just adored people in America and why they should get crushed for it not. Next, Stillman and Company right here on ESPN 1025 The Game. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. I love my friends at Hiller. They do a great job every time they come on out to my house. I've been using Hiller at my home for years, whether it's plumbing, heating, cooling, or electrical. Hiller is giving away cash for the holidays, and they are celebrating from now until the end of the year with special deals. Hiller wants to make sure every child experiences the joy of Christmas this year, and they're donating $50 in toys to Toys for Tots with every tankless water heater purchase. And Hiller's giving away a $250 Visa gift card with each unit. Get a $500 Visa gift card when you buy select new HVAC systems, or get a $500 Visa gift card with the purchase of any new whole home generator. More specials are online at happyhiller.com. As always at Hiller, happy you'll be here. The service is free. These deals are only available until the end of the year, so schedule today. Hiller, proud supporters of the Preds, the Vols, and Vandy. Call the Happy Face Truck today.
1025 The Game and Cromwell Media are teaming up with Souls for Souls this holiday season for Souls for Music City.
Thank you to everyone who's helping us.
Every $20 donation equals a brand new pair of athletic shoes for a local child experiencing homelessness in Middle Tennessee.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Log on to thegamenashville.com/shoes to learn more on how you can help bring a smile to a child's face at a time of need. Souls for Music City is brought to you by Newton Motor Group.
Thank you so much.
Audible is best-selling audiobooks, exclusive originals, and podcasts all in one app. This holiday season, treat yourself with 60% off your first 3 months. Just visit audible.com for more details.
It's the 12 days of Christmas at Genesis Diamonds with the best gift ever. 5 years, 0 interest financing. That's right. For the first 12 days of December, you get the unbeatable Genesis value price, plus 0 interest financing for 5 years with nothing down. Shop early for Christmas and get that $5,000 pair of diamond stud earrings for just $84 a month. Or that $6,000 diamond eternity band, just $100 a month. Our showcases are stocked with the best holiday gifts. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, colored gemstone jewelry, unique handcrafted one-of-a-kind gifts that are sure to be the headliner gift at your house this Christmas. And now through December 12th, everything's affordable with 5 years, 0 interest financing. How about splurging on a $10,000 tennis bracelet and paying just $167 a month? Don't miss this special finance offer now through December 12th. Merry Christmas from Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. On approved credit, see store for details.
Yo, this is Justin from Music Vintage. We're here to provide you with all your vintage apparel needs. Tons of great shoes and memorabilia from your past. We're located in the heart of East Nashville at 2503 Gallatin Avenue, where we do buy, sell, and trade. Got some clothes your stepdad gave you in the 90s? Found some dope clothes in your granddad's closet? Bring it by, we'll give you a cash offer. Found some at a thrift store and don't know where to sell it? Bring it by, we'll give you a cash offer. Got some new Jordans that don't quite fit well? Bring it by and we'll give you a cash offer. Music Vintage, here to provide you with all your vintage and shoe needs. See y'all soon in Nashville.
Hey, this is Edwin Vickery at Mercedes-Benz of Music City in Nashville, Tennessee. We have a lot to be thankful for this year, and I want to say thank you to our customers in Nashville and Middle Tennessee. I hope everybody has a safe and happy holiday season.
What can give you a competitive edge in today's red-hot housing market? Rocket can. That's because Rocket Mortgage can give you a verified approval. It could help your offer stand out. Rocket Technology provides a rock-solid verification of your income, assets, and credit, giving sellers greater confidence in you. Go to rocketmortgage.com or call us today at 8338-ROCKET.
A verified approval is based on an underwriter's analysis of your individual financial information, appraisal, and title report. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender license in all 50 states and MLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
Interact with Stillman and Company. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
The game hinges on one play. Jackson flings it. Andrews can't get to it. Could not reel it in. Incomplete.
There you go. 2-point conversion. Terrible throw by Lamar Jackson.
It was way too far.
Terrible throw. And here's the deal, okay? I'm a Lamar Jackson fan. I went to Louisville. By the way, we got more drama going on at Louisville. It never stops over there. So I'm a Lamar Jackson fan. And I think Lamar's a great guy. I love the way he carries himself. I love the way he represents my university. I love all that. But Lamar's got to start playing better. And I thought yesterday, I don't know about you guys, I thought Lamar was average. I mean, I saw Twitter get excited about that last-second drive when the Steelers went full-on prevent. I'm like, we don't do that for Jared Goff when the Vikings go full-on prevent. I mean, everybody goes prevent, and every team moves right down the field. Baylor went prevent. Here comes Oklahoma State right down the field. I mean, Lamar Jackson goes right down the field. They score a touchdown. And I don't know who to be more mad at, between Lamar Jackson or Harbaugh. Because Lamar Jackson this offseason is going to sign a contract that's going to pay him about $43 million a season to play quarterback, which is insane. But that's the reality of the sport. And he can't make that little throw to Mark Andrews. That's a little dump right there to Mark Andrews. And those plays matter. Like over the course of a season, that play, I'd love to see what it does, for the odds of the Ravens to get the 1 seed or the odds of the Ravens to go to the Super, whatever. That play, those are the plays that for 20 years Tom Brady has made and other guys haven't made them. And it's like, well, you can't hold them to that standard of making that play every time. But there's also the ridiculousness of a Harbaugh going for it. Now, after the game, John Harbaugh said that Marlon Humphrey had banged up his shoulder, and so he didn't feel like they had enough bodies to put out on defense. But I just don't buy that. I think Harbaugh is a go-for-it-all-the-time kind of guy. Vic Fangio a couple of weeks ago or a couple of months ago came out and was asked about going for it and analytics. And analytics And I don't know, people say, well, the analytics will tell you. Well, which analytics? But anywho, that's the way they're saying. Analytics are your new buddy playing Madden football, who just is like, screw it, going for it on fourth down. They want you to go for it on every fourth down. They want you to go for it on every two-point conversion. And Harbaugh has hid behind them for years of going for it on fourth down. When he goes for it on fourth down and it works, everybody's like, analytics! And nobody gets on Harbaugh when he goes for it on fourth down against the Titans in the playoffs twice, doesn't get it, loses, and that's the end of their 14-2 season. And nobody gets on Harbaugh when he goes for it yesterday, his inaccurate quarterback, which, again, I love Lamar, but let's be honest, that's what he is. He's inaccurate. He throws high, he throws off, he's not Peyton Manning with the football. He's putting the ball in the hands of his inaccurate quarterback, who I'd rather be moving around in a play like that, honestly. But he's put the ball in his hands instead of just going to overtime and forcing the Steelers, if you go to overtime with the Ravens, I don't care who you are, you have to win the toss and you have to score a touchdown on your first possession. Because if you don't and the Ravens get the ball back, they got the best kicker in the NFL. So if you're driving and you don't score a touchdown on that first possession, which is a lot of pressure to do, and most teams don't score touchdowns on their first possession of anything. And so now you're in overtime, and it wasn't like Ben had lit it up yesterday. It wasn't like the Steelers were unstoppable. I mean, all you got to do is get one stop, force a punt, and now all you got to do is put the ball around the 40-yard line. You got the best kicker in the history of the NFL. Overtime is made for that guy. And you're going for two? Where all it takes is TJ Watt getting his hands in the air to get Lamar Jackson to make a bad pass? That's the difference between somebody who's always going to go for it, we're going, and somebody who is feeling the game as it's being played. When Vrabel first got here, Vrabel was we're going every single time. Now, Vrabel goes sometimes, Vrabel punts sometimes, Vrabel kicks sometimes, but for the most part, early in his tenure, Vrabel drove me nuts. Now, I think for the most part, Vrabel's got a decent feel. Now, he's not perfect, but I think he's got like a decent feel. Harbaugh yesterday, I thought, had no feel for the game. So I don't know who to be more mad at, Harbaugh or Lamar, but I'm convinced with those two, and without the help around them, without Marcus Peters this year, without the running game that they normally have, Sammy Watkins has been a nice addition. But I think the Ravens are pretenders right now, unless Lamar can find another level, because I don't think you can win with what you've had the last 2 weeks with him at quarterback.
Well, I mean, when the Ravens scored that last touchdown, I saw Harbaugh put up his hands for two, and I said I would not do that, because you could end it here. You could get to win the game, it's over. Or just play it safe. And I know that's not the fun or sexy thing to do. And I would have said that. I would have backed up me saying that even if the Ravens had gotten to and won the game. Because I just feel that if you kick the field goal, take it to overtime, that gives your team the best chance to win.
With that kicker.
Kicker.
That if you're Minnesota and Greg Joseph is your kicker, fine. I get it. This guy is the greatest kicker in the history of the NFL. He can hit from 60. If you set him up for 63 to win the game, he's going to make that kick. And I think part of Lamar's success, and I know anytime you say anything about Lamar that is at all negative, people are going to get mad and they're going to say, they're going to look for like a hidden meaning behind it that has something to do with the fact that it's not just a breakdown of his play. I don't think Lamar is an accurate enough passer in the NFL. I don't.
I think that's been a criticism of Lamar Jackson's from the very beginning.
I don't think Lamar Jackson...
That's not going anywhere.
I don't think you can win a Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson as your quarterback if you don't have a great team around him, which is fine. But you're paying Ryan Tannehill $29.5 million under that premise. You're going to end up paying Lamar $43 million under that premise. So you're going to be paying him Josh Allen money. You're going to be paying him Mahomes money. You're going to be paying him Watson money. And I think we all believe with those three guys you can win a Super Bowl. With those guys leading your team. With Lamar, I don't think you can run through four good teams and win the Super Bowl playing that style. Just like San Francisco knows they can't do it with Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't think you can do that with Lamar Jackson right now. And then on top of it, Harbaugh's desire to constantly go for it. What's that going to do? But I just look at the Ravens. Could they beat the Titans in the playoffs if they met? Absolutely, they could beat the Titans. But I don't look at them and think that I can't see them going through a stretch of playing the Chargers one week, then going to Kansas City, then coming here, then beating Arizona. I don't think they have the players to do that. And I think a lot of that, to me, kind of revolves around Lamar.
Even if they were fully healthy, you don't think they have the players to do that?
I mean, that's an if, but you're not getting torn ACLs back.
That's true.
So, I don't think you can win like that with Tannehill. So you better get Derrick Henry, and you better get Bud Dupree, and you better get A.J. Brown back. Because if you don't, you are not going to the Super Bowl with Tannehill leading the team to Des Fitzpatrick. Golden Tate is not making that kind of a difference. 615-737-1025. We're to your phones next. Here on a Reaction Monday, powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and Focus. Sparkling water with a spark, 615-737-1025. Stillman and Company. It's ESPN 1025 The Game, delivered by TriStar Moving and streaming on the Game Nashville app.
Tuesday night.
Scored! Matt Duchene scores on the power play.
Matt Duchene and the Predators head north for another road trip, starting in the Motor City against the Red Wings. Pre-game at 5, face-off at 6 on Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It's the end of the year blowout sale at Social Furniture. Closing out on Ashley's Furniture with up to 70% off. First come, first served on the best selection of furniture. Social Furniture has truckloads after truckloads of furniture with 100 loads of closeouts, samples, canceled orders, and discounted orders of Ashley Furniture. All on sale here at Social Furniture. $300 nightstands, now $99. $1,000 Ashley mattress, now $300. $200 bar stools, now for $59. $1,000 sofas, now $499. And recliners starting at $299. The best part is there's no waiting. Take your new furniture home today with Social Furniture's same-day delivery. They have 12 months same as cash. Hurry up and come down to Social Furniture's end-of-the-year blowout sale before it's gone. Visit Social Furniture on the west side at 5412 Charlotte Avenue or on the web at mysocialfurniture.com.
Possibilities are all around us. We see potential in unexpected places. And when we share our knowledge, vision, and connections, we turn great ideas into action. Together, we can make real change happen. We're Rotary. We are people of action. Get involved today at rotary.org/action.
This holiday season, head into Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the hottest gifts from TaylorMade and Bushnell, featuring the P790 irons with speed foam air technology and tungsten weighting to give you more distance. And don't miss these hot gifts from Bushnell, like the Tour V5 and the Tour V5 Shift with pin seeker technology, or the Wingman with Bluetooth and audible GPS for distance. Edwin Watts Golf Shops is home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee, or shop us online for the holidays at worldwidegolfshops.com.
Hose and Belting Specialties in Murfreesboro is your local source for hydraulic, air, water, and chemical hoses, along with conveyor, timing, and metric belt needs. They stock metric fittings for both air and hydraulic applications. Hose and Belting Specialties stocks Parker hydraulic hoses and fittings, Goodyear ContiTech industrial hoses, and V-belts, just to name a few of their lines. For any of your industrial needs, call 615-895-HOSE. 615-895-HOSE.
Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is here to serve you. Is your AC or heating unit old and inefficient? Is it breaking down yearly? Now is the time to replace it. Waiting can cost you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Just like everything, the cost of a new AC unit is rising. Effective January 1st, all manufacturers are increasing prices up to 10%. Get ahead of the game and call Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, offering 60 months, no interest financing, and 10-year parts and labor warranty on all new units. Schedule now at springhillac.com or call 615-778-8855.
ESPN's Turon Davenport breaks down the Titans like no other.
On the field chemistry, I don't think it's going to be a problem. It's just going to be a process.
Catch TD Mondays at 11, Thursdays at 3, and Fridays at 8. Plus, the Talking with TD podcast drops every Wednesday.
When you draft players, it's not just for one season, it's for a career.
Presented by FreedomTireGuys.com, Nashville's premier mobile tire company, and Craneworks and Rentalworks, your source for crane and equipment rental. Visit Craneworks.com. Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Mookie Betts. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Reaction Monday powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and by Focus Sparkling Water with a spark. Go to thegamenashville.com/deals. Check out Nashville's best deal. The deal this week is half off $30 gift card to Seafood Sensation. Seafood Sensation is Nashville's original seafood restaurant, 10 years and running. They are located at 2719 Jefferson Street, Unit E. Stop by to enjoy some of your favorite seafood dishes like their crab leg platter, grilled salmon, and more. Get your deal now at thegamenashville.com/deals. Let's go to your phones on week 13. As promised, 615-737-1025. Phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Pablo texts in and says, Lamar, the potential NFL MVP, threw a laser beam to where Andrews was supposed to be. That miss was on Andrews.
At the end of the game?
Yeah.
That wasn't a laser beam.
I think that was
a 2-yard
way far
pass
right.
that went over his head.
It was way far right. You could see Mark Andrews stretching out his arm trying to get it, and he just could not get there.
Like, I think we can all agree that Mark Andrews is a pretty good tight end in the NFL.
Yes.
And I think we can all agree that Mark Andrews and Lamar Jackson have a lot of chemistry together since he is by far Lamar Jackson's favorite target.
100%.
When the favorite target, like, it's one thing if Anthony Ferkser is like, doesn't know where to be. I'm not sure I ever saw, Derek Mason like that on a throw. When he was clearly Steve McNair's guy, and that was or Frank Wycheck on like a 2-yard pass like that. That's a bad throw. The truth of the matter with Lamar is that he's just not very accurate. And that he misses high, he misses wide. He is like a baseball pitcher who, when he's on, you can't hit him.
Mm-hmm.
But when he's off a little bit, he can sometimes have a hard time finding the strike zone. That happened to the Titans in the game that they played 2 years ago in the playoffs. Titans go 3 and out. So a buddy of mine runs the Ravens radio network. And he told me that he had never heard that stadium as loud as it was at the start. The Ravens were 14-2. They hadn't trailed since October. Lamar was the league MVP. They were great that year. He said he had never heard that stadium that loud as he heard it when the game started. Titans go 3 and out. Lamar's moving right down the field. Lamar throws a pass. I believe it was intended for Willie Snead. It hits off the top of Snead's hands as he's kind of trying to jump up to grab it, pops into the air, right into the arms of Kevin Byard. Byard takes it down the sidelines. Lamar makes a tackle, which was actually a legal tackle. They threw a flag on it because the refs stink. But they threw a flag 15 yards up. Tannehill hits Jonnu Smith for a touchdown, 7-0 Titans. That same guy that told me he had never heard it that loud before said that when the Titans had the second touchdown, after Harbaugh went for it in his own territory, they went for it on 4th down. They went for it, didn't get it. On the next play, Tannehill hit Khalif Raymond for the bomb to make it 14-0. He said he's never heard it that silent. And that's how Lamar's accuracy issues, which exist, it doesn't mean he can't throw the football. It doesn't mean he should be playing running back or wide receiver. It just means that he's not exactly John Elway, which sometimes you need to win Super Bowls. But that's how an overthrow like that can cost you in the playoffs. That's why when Tannehill was doing dumb stuff, is doing dumb stuff, I get so hard on him because all these games are determined by turnovers. Lamar panicked yesterday, ran backwards, threw the ball in the air, up for grabs, into the end zone with the best safety in the NFL standing there. That's just dumb. Like, that's just like these Tannehill throws where we're like, what were you doing? That's like, you know what's crazy? Because I think Lamar's got a better attitude, a better leader, better teammate. And if you're like an old school Titan fan, I think you can follow me with this. Lamar reminds me a lot of Vince Young. Now, Vince was bigger than Lamar, But I think Lamar's a better leader and a better teammate. I don't think Vince was much of a leader. I'm not sure Vince was a great teammate, just from some of the things I've heard. But Vince Young was a dominant player in the NFL. He was Rookie of the Year, and he went to 2 Pro Bowls. Floyd was general manager for 1 year, drafted Vince Young, and then Floyd was gone for the rest of Vince's career. And anytime you would ask Floyd on or off the record about Vince Young, he would tell you, all I know is when I was here, Vince Young was Rookie of the Year and headed to the Pro Bowl, which I think was his way of saying, subtly, Jeff Fisher screwed it up, which I think most of us probably believe. Jeff Fisher never wanted Vince Young and has said it many times that he was never interested in Vince Young. The Ravens, meanwhile, took Lamar Jackson and then decided we're going to build an entire offense around Lamar, which has been the right decision. Now, can you win a Super Bowl with it? That's a different topic. But I think it was the right thing. The Titans never did that. They never said, hey, let's build the whole offense around Vince Young's skill set. But Vince was a lot like Lamar in the sense that Vince would miss high on guys sometimes. He had that sidearm delivery, and he would miss high on guys, and he'd throw interceptions. Now, the one thing that Vince did more, and I think he developed a bad habit with it, and I think over the last 2 weeks, we've seen this from Lamar Jackson, is Vince used to throw passes, interceptions that I would call Dr. Phil interceptions. Tannehill has thrown some this year, where you see the play on a replay. Marcus loved to throw the Dr. Phil interception, where you look at it, and you're seeing the replay. Like, you know, you're watching the play, and it's intercepted at the New England 34, and you're like, oh, God, show the replay. And you're seeing the replay, and you're like, what were you thinking? At what point? I call it a Dr. Phil interception because I'm like, what were you thinking when you dropped back and threw that ball? And that's what I thought with Lamar's interception yesterday. Because, like, what were you thinking? At what point at what point was that a good idea? Tannehill's done it this year too. But again, Tannehill makes $29.5 million. Lamar's going to sign a contract to make $43. And that's the difference. What else we got there?
Nate Texan in reference to our eligible teams in the AFC. And Nate asked, what about the Dolphins on a 5-game winning streak?
Yeah, I'm not a huge believer in the Dolphins. I mean, I think they've beaten some really horrid teams outside of the Ravens. Like, I'm not – I watched that game with the Giants yesterday. The Giants are unwatchable.
The Giants are bad.
Did you hear what Logan Ryan said?
I don't think so.
So, I got to say this. I'm not a huge fan of guys who lose and then talk trash, but it does remind me of the scene in The Last Dance where Michael's in the locker room. He's got a cigar in his mouth after B.J. Armstrong, who was with the Bulls for the first 3 titles, and then B.J. is now in Charlotte, and B.J. hits a game-winning shot over Jordan, and he, you know, turns over to the bench and whatever. And BJ was like, why did I do that? And they showed Michael, you know, before practice, he had a cigar in his mouth and a baseball bat. And they were like, what did you think about BJ yesterday? Michael was like, we'll see how all that talking goes when it's even score in a nothing game. Real man talks trash when it's even score. Real man talks trash when he's getting his butt kicked. So Michael said it with stronger language than that.
I can only assume.
But Michael has a cigar in his mouth. He's like, real man talk trash when it's even score. And Logan Ryan said after the game yesterday that he's the emergency quarterback for the Giants because I guess he played it in high school. And he said, yeah, I'm like Tua. I can throw 2-yard passes to the left. I was like, oh, damn. I was like, damn.
That is some tea.
I was like, damn. And I was thinking to myself, like, I can't believe Logan. Like, you know, and Logan Ryan's like kind of a no-nonsense. He's like a Patriot guy.
Yeah.
And like, Logan, you're smarter than that. Lose a game and say it. And I'm like, you know what? Michael said, real man talks trash when it's even score or after he loses. So I got to give Logan a look right there. Adam is called in about Vince Young. Oh, this would be great. Go ahead, Adam. Thank you for calling.
Man, you should have a segment that's just dedicated to things of the past that trigger people because that, man, I couldn't tell by the way you were talking. Are you on Vince's side in that argument?
Yeah, kind of.
Ugh, it's sick, man. I was in the stands the day he threw his shoulder pads in the stands. And then his mom, this is what I'm going to tell you. His mom called. They're worried about his mental health, whatever. Any person, I'm not even worried about that. Everybody's got their issues. Any person that could take a $2, $3, whatever $1 million loan and then try not to pay it back for your birthday, that says everything you need to know about that person. And I just thought he was wildly immature. He didn't develop. I'm a Jeff Fisher guy, so I fully take Fisher's side that was not a quarterback, man. Like, he wasn't doing what he was supposed to do. So, it triggered me hard, man, because
I'll say this, and I don't want to get into like a whole thank you for your call, Adam. That's something we could do in July or something. But I will say this. I mean, Jeff Fisher's let it be known that he wasn't interested in drafting Vince Young. That's something that Floyd would never publicly or privately say. Do I think Floyd wanted to draft Vince Young? I don't know. But every time I'd ask him, on the record, off the record, and, the key with Floyd was you used to try to get him tired. So if we had a long day at the Combine or a long trip back after SEC Media Days, that was when you got the best stuff. That was when you found out how Bud Adams really screwed up the Steve McNair thing in the end. Like, that's how you found out what the move from Houston to Nashville was like and how ridiculous some of those things were. But you had to get him tired. You had to get the old man tired, and then you had a shot.
Take advantage of him when he's tired.
But
shame on you.
The one thing about him was anytime you ask him about, did you want to draft Vince Young, he'd look at me and go, who'd I draft? Every time. And I don't know if that was him admitting that, or if that was his way of saying, I drafted the man, that was my job, I stand by it, and I am not copping out now that I know the results. Jeff Fisher's already done that. Floyd wouldn't have done that. The thing that I'll say is that everybody knew that Jeff Fisher didn't want Floyd when Jeff was the coach. Vince knew that Jeff Fisher didn't want Vince as the quarterback. And once Vince knew that, it was never going to work out. Once he felt disrespected by the coach, it was never going to work out. So if you're Jeff Fisher and you're so anti-drafting Vince Young, then quit. Then you got to go do something else. And Jeff Fisher wasn't willing to do that. He'd bench him. He'd play musical quarterbacks. Vince saved his job twice. 2006 and 2009. Vince Young's talent saved Jeff Fisher's job. And I'm not here to go play revisionist history and say Vince Young was a great Titan or Vince Young's this or Vince Young's that. I do know this. I know that there's a couple of jerseys hanging up at the Reese household. One of them is a Vince Young jersey. I know that. What else we got?
Another texter texts into the text line and says, personally, with the current state of the Titans and the way they've been playing the past 3 weeks, I think that the Titans have at least 2 more losses in them.
So that's why they've got to get Derrick Henry, Bud Dupree, Julio Jones, A.J. Brown, David Long Jr. back. Because, yes, if they have to go out there with Nick Westbrook-Akina and Des Fitzpatrick and Golden Tate, they're going to lose to the Steelers, and they're probably going to lose to the 49ers, and they'll probably lose another one along the way. You get some of those guys back, I feel pretty good about your chances. Especially considering by the time, like Jacksonville's already eliminated from the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So when you play them tomorrow, they're already thinking about Cancun. It's December. It's Christmas time, and then it's vacation time. And I think you're going to see a lot of that in that regard. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. We'll get back to your calls, plus we'll get some headlines with Caroline. Trevor Maddich going to join us later today instead of Tuesday. Preds game, early Preds game tomorrow. Plus, we got so much college football to get into with Trevor. So we will have Trevor next hour. 615-737-1025. Stillman and Company. It's ESPN 1025 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Looking at clearing skies the rest of the day, but also falling temperatures. As cool air now moves in from the north and west, we will fall through the 40s this afternoon.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Audible is best-selling audiobooks, exclusive originals, and podcasts all in one app. This holiday season, treat yourself with 60% off your first 3 months. Just visit audible.com for more details.
Do you really want to go through another year with that awful joint pain? Well, don't do it. Resolve right now to get yourself moving again for 2022. Willie Donick here. It's time to call the folks at QC Kinetics. Non-surgical regenerative treatments for joint pain. We're talking lasting results using natural biologics. No surgery, no pain meds, no steroids, and no downtime. This is really exciting stuff. Regenerative, restorative treatments that actually encourage your body to heal itself using highly concentrated natural biologics. Patients rave about it for hip pain relief, knee pain relief, shoulder and back pain relief. Don't let them give you the steroids. Don't let them tell you your surgery is the only option. Get a free second opinion at QC Kinetics and do it now. And imagine life in 2022 without pain. Call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics. 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024 for QC Kinetics.
Closer, bolder, golden. Nashville SC Stadium is arriving in 2022, and season tickets are on sale now. With just 150 feet between the pitch and the last row, you'll be right there in the action no matter where you sit. If you thought soccer in Nashville was a party already, you ain't seen nothing yet. So come on in, grab a seat, and stay a while as we open a new era of Nashville sports. For more information on season tickets at the new Nashville SC Stadium, visit nashvillesc.com/22 tickets.
Touchdown, Leonard Fournette.
Witness tomorrow's NFL stars this December at the Trans-Perfect Music City Bowl.
Eli back to throw, avoids pressure, steps up, has a man wide open, Armstrong in the end zone, touchdown.
Don't miss a second as two of college football's most exciting programs from the SEC and Big Ten go head-to-head on Thursday, December 30th at 2 p.m. inside Nissan Stadium. For more information on this year's game, including ticket availability, visit MusicCityBowl.com to get your tickets today.
At Houston Clinic Orthopedics, their physicians are specialty-trained orthopedists that treat injuries and disorders of the upper extremities. Not all painful conditions require surgery. Therefore, their physicians look for non-surgical solutions first. Depending on your condition, you can be treated with a brace, splint, anti-inflammatory medications, rehabilitation, or if necessary, surgery. To experience world-class orthopedic care, visit tn.houston.com, where experience matters.
Robbie Stanley.
Maybe it doesn't hurt their bottom line this year. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen on that front.
Joe Rexrode.
5 guys who are on the roster are not going to be on the roster.
Get your morning started with Robbie and Rexrode every weekday from 6 to 10. Presented by Volunteer State Bank on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
You're listening to Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
Big one tonight. If the Patriots lose to Buffalo, the Tennessee Titans exit the bye week as the number 1 seed in the AFC. That's a big one tonight. Wind advisory in Buffalo. ESPN will not have a sky cam tonight for Monday Night Football because of the wind in Buffalo. So congratulations, Mac Jones. Here you go, baby, in the wind of Buffalo. Time now for headlines with Caroline.
We're spanning the sports world. It's Headlines with Caroline on Stillman and Company, right here on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Big weekend in the NFL and in college football. Some coaching shakeups. First and foremost, the Carolina Panthers announced yesterday that they have fired their offensive coordinator, Joe Brady. Their senior offensive assistant, Jeff Nixon, will be the OC for the remainder of the season and for the Panthers moving forward. So last year, Joe Brady's first full year as OC, Carolina's offense ranked 21st in yards, 24th in points when Teddy Bridgewater was their starting quarterback. Entering Sunday, the Panthers' offense this year, 28th in yards per game, 23rd in points through 12 games. So not necessarily a great resume for Joe Brady and the Carolina Panthers.
What do we think of the timing of that? Like, they wait till all the college jobs are full, and then they fire Joe Brady?
And they announce it on their bye week? I mean,
Well,
I understand the bye week.
fire somebody, it's
I
the bye
understand
week,
the bye week.
But you probably do it on, like, Tuesday after the game's over, and then you have the bye week, and then you have the next week.
And that's what I'm saying. It was on Sunday. The timing is weird.
That doesn't make a lot of sense.
But
to
if
me.
they want, I have to assume that the Panthers knew that they were going to make this decision before Sunday, because it's not like anything happened on Sunday that I personally know of.
Sure, but if you fired him last week.
If you fired him last week, he could have gotten a college job.
Isn't he one of the candidates for these college jobs?
I would have to say so. But why would Carolina not do that? Because it's not like a college job is taking Joe Brady away.
Normally, there's offsets in these contracts so that if you were to sign another deal, it would end up offsetting the money that you'd owe him anyways.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tell you the truth. I bet they hate him. Because that's the only reason why you would chuck somebody so far under the bus.
And so
at
you
that
don't get
time
an opportunity
so that
at a
you
college
don't get another
job.
job, and then we get to spend months talking about how bad you are. He must have really pissed them off. That's the only thing I can come up with.
I don't know.
Now, I'm going to say this.
That's crummy.
I'm going to say this. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, they got a lot of people a lot of money. I mean, they got a lot of people paid.
Got Joe Brady a really great opportunity.
Because, I mean, Orgeron made, probably $30 million off of that championship. Joe Brady probably made $10 million off that championship.
Dave Aranda got a head coaching job.
But he's actually, the defense is not those guys. But I hear you. But, those guys, here's what's crazy. Joe Brady didn't call those plays at LSU.
Mm-mm.
Joe Brady didn't catch those passes at LSU. Joe Brady didn't recruit those players at LSU. Joe Brady didn't throw those passes at LSU. And everybody was convinced until yesterday that he was a genius. And now people are like, oh, yeah, maybe Joe Brady's not that good. And it's like, that's why the Panthers waited until they did. Because if they had fired him, 3 weeks prior, when all the college jobs were still coming open, we'd hear Notre Dame, should they look at Joe Brady? Oklahoma, they lose boy wonder Lincoln Riley. Should they go after Joe Brady? And we don't hear any of that. Now all those jobs are filled. Peculiar. What's next?
The Seahawks snapped a 3-game losing streak yesterday, broke up the 49ers' 3-game winning streak, so Seattle overcame a 10-point deficit, hung on with a goal line stand in the final minute of the game to beat San Francisco. But, fun little tidbit here, Adrian Peterson, legendary Titan, had a 1-yard touchdown run yesterday.
He sucks.
It was his 126th career touchdown, tying him with Jim Brown for 10th place in NFL history, and he became the 4th player with 120 career rushing touchdowns.
It's really become just stat padding now. I mean, he stinks. He is like a 2-yard-a-carry guy.
I mean, he's old.
He's
been in the league for a long time.
So done. I thought Albert Pujols on the Dodgers was bad. This takes the cake. I mean, he is so done.
I mean, he's going for a full 32.
Wear
all 32 jerseys in the NFL.
Just give it up, Adrian. Just go to the whole thing. Just go. What's next?
I mentioned coaching shakeups in the NFL and also in college. Clemson defensive coordinator Brent Venables is Oklahoma's new head football coach. So he was on Oklahoma's staff from 1999 to 2011 as the co-defensive coordinator, from 1999 to 2003, and defensive coordinator from 2004 to 2011. So served in a defensive coordinator role throughout his entire tenure
I
in
believe
Oklahoma.
Stoops' brother Mike went to Arizona after Saban beat him in 2003, and they promoted Venables. And I believe Venables got the boot. It's crazy. Bob Stoops has no problem firing coordinators. He's fired Brent Venables, and he fired Josh Heupel.
Two who are now head coaches in college football.
Heupel was his quarterback, and he fired him and hired Lincoln Riley. So
when Heupel was a Heisman finalist.
No problem kicking his guys out the door. He kicked Venables out the door. Now Venables is back in as head coach. I think Venables, I would be worried about this one. I think Venables is a good coach, but I think he's kind of crazy. And I think he's the perfect kind of guy when he can be, mad dog on the sidelines, and they got the strength coach pulling him back like he's almost got a leash because he's so crazy. But Dabo's the guy who's the face of the program and calms the waters and whatever. And now Venables, who's crazy, is going to be running a program, and now you don't have somebody to answer all the questions when things don't go your way or when there's something confrontational. Everybody works for you. And I'm not sure I love this fit.
Another interesting caveat to this as well is that, according to ESPN, Brent Venables plans to hire Ole Miss offensive coordinator Jeff Lebby as his offensive coordinator at Oklahoma.
Why? What's special about that guy?
He calls Ole Miss's plays.
Does he?
Yeah.
Kiffin doesn't call the plays?
See, that's what I originally thought. I thought that Kiffin called all the plays. It's actually Jeff Lebby.
Like, I hate the guy who works for the guy. Like, I hate the guy.
Well, weren't you just saying last week that hiring a coordinator is the thing to do?
No. I hate the guy who, like, is Josh Heupel's offensive coordinator.
Why?
Because Josh Heupel runs the Tennessee offense.
Yes.
Josh Heupel calls
Josh Heupel is essentially the offensive coordinator.
Josh Heupel comes up with the game plan. So now I'm hiring you to be the head coach, and I'm hiring you to be coordinator, and you do all the things that I want you to do well, you don't do right now. See, that's Matt LaFleur. I couldn't stand Matt LaFleur as Titans offensive coordinator. Like, the fact that LaFleur's won games in Green Bay because he's got one of the greatest quarterbacks ever is a really solid play at revisionist history that LaFleur was a complete dud as the Titans OC in 2018. Took him 12 games to realize that Derrick Henry was the best player on the offense. But it all worked out, and everybody thought he was Johnny Wonder from the Rams, so he got a head coaching job anyways. What he did here should have never gotten him a head coaching job. But why did he take a lateral move from the Rams to come here? Because McVay calls the plays, McVay runs the offense. It's all about McVay. He wanted to run an offense.
He doesn't
and
have a
didn't do
role.
a very good job. So that makes me nervous. Again, the whole Oklahoma thing, maybe it works. I don't know. But I'd be worried about bringing in Coach Crazy, and I'd be worried about bringing in Lane's OC when the whole key is that Lane is some offensive guru. What's next?
Mario Cristobal will leave Oregon and will head to Miami to become their new head football coach. So Cristobal is Miami native. He was an offensive lineman from Miami, won 2 national titles with Miami, was a Miami assistant from 2004 to 2006. So he is heading back home to be the head coach at Miami. So he went 35-13 in Oregon, 2 Pac-12 championships, a Rose Bowl win 2 years ago, 3 Pac-12 North titles. I mean, Miami has been pursuing him for weeks, which I think is pretty crummy on their end. Because it was before, they announced that they were firing Manny Diaz this morning. And yesterday and Saturday, all the talk about about Miami was about the deal that they were going to make with Mario Cristobal before they even parted ways with Manny Diaz. So I think it's kind of bad on Miami's part, but they've got their guy.
Yeah, this is kind of like the moment of truth for Miami, right? Like, is the U ever coming back, or is this it? Because you've tried everything. You tried Mark Richt, that didn't work out. Mm-hmm. You tried Manny Diaz, that didn't work out. Now you're trying this guy. And, Cristobal's fine at Oregon, but so was everybody else. Chip Kelly was fine at Oregon. He moved on, got fired. Willie Taggart was at Oregon. He moved on, he got fired. So we'll see. Cristobal seems like a Miami guy. He's got the Nick Saban experience under his belt. Maybe this is what works and brings the U back, but I don't know. I feel when I think of Miami football, and I think maybe you're too young to remember, like the second edition of the U.
Like the Bad Boys?
Oh, the Bad Boys were like the 80s, but I'm talking like the second edition where you had like Andre Johnson and Vince Wilfork and Antrell Roll and Ken Dorsey and Willis McGahee and Clinton Portis and Jeremy Shockey. And, they were just so good. And that was so long ago. The U has just been mediocre ever since. This feels like it's their last crack to kind of get out of mediocrity. Plus, does anybody ever want to stay at Oregon? They got all the money in the world. They win a lot, and yet everybody wants to leave. And this is another example of a guy who, did his time at Oregon. See ya. Out the door he goes. Mario Cristobal, those are headlines with Caroline. Coming up next, speaking of college football, the college football playoff is set. And no, I did not watch the college football playoff show yesterday because I did not have to. But I feel like I've learned everybody's going to complain. Why this year the complaints are at an all-time terrible. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company. It's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Take us wherever you may go.
There are 2 guys on my untouchable list.
Tune us in anywhere, anytime.
Every team's got those. That's my point.
Just search The Game Nashville in your app store and download today. And keep it locked on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Attention Nice List recipients. The Mercedes-Benz Winter Event is here. Make this season your reason. Forget the halls, deck the garage. Hark, the turbo engines sing. Like hot cocoa in a blizzard, this opportunity won't last long. Hurry for these exclusive offers from Nashville's two-time Best of the Best award-winning Mercedes-Benz of Music City. Just one exit from the airport. Go to mbofmc.com.
It's the 12 days of Christmas at Genesis Diamonds with the best gift ever, 5 years, 0 interest financing. That's right. For the first 12 days of December, you get the unbeatable Genesis value price, plus 0 interest financing for 5 years with nothing down. So you can splurge on a new diamond. Why not upgrade her from a 1 carat to a 2 carat? With this offer, you can get a $12,000 designer engagement ring for just $200 a month. All Genesis GIA certified diamonds are included. So if you're celebrating a lifetime of love, or just starting out, you can get the ring of her dreams and spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest. Diamond earrings, diamond pendants, diamond bands, and bracelets are also included. But you need to shop early. This finance offer is going on now through December 12th only at Genesis Diamonds. Merry Christmas from Genesis Diamonds. Green Hills and Cool Springs. On approved credit, see store for details.
Your home value is way up. Why not use it to make your home even nicer with a new kitchen or bathroom? Hey, Willie here. So many of our listeners are doing this with Loan Pronto, thanks to their zero-cost cash-out refi program. Call Loan Pronto now. They're fast-tracking home refis for the year-end, and people are getting checks for $60, $70, $100 or more. It's fast and easy. It's your money, money you can use to add even more value to your home. Imagine 2022 with that all-new luxurious kitchen you've been dreaming about. Or start building that pool so it's going to be ready for the summer. Call Loan Pronto now. See how easy it is to use the equity in your home and walk away with the big check. They can even pay your closing costs, and you can skip your next 2 house payments. Call 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. Not all loans apply.
Contest rules for 102.5 The Game and ESPN 94.9, including on-air, online, and text-based contests, are available by visiting the contest rules page at thegamenashville.com. Good luck and thanks for listening to 102.5 The Game and ESPN 94.9.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman. On Nashville's best sports talk,
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, ESPN 102.5 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. Reaction Monday powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and Focus Sparkling Water with a Spark Drink Focus, PHOCUS.com. So, I have a friend. She's got 2 kids. She's got a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And she tells me every car ride, it's something. They're in their car seats. They're sitting next to each other, but they're in car seats. So it's not like they can really do anything, but it's always something. And I've decided that college football fans are the exact same way. It's always something. The college football playoff was set yesterday. Did you watch the TV show to see where the 4 teams landed?
I didn't watch all 3 hours of it, but yes, I watched the selection.
Did you really? Ian, did you watch it yesterday?
I did not, no.
I didn't need to watch it. After about 7:37 on Saturday, I knew it was going to be Alabama and Cincinnati versus Georgia and Michigan. And I knew it was going to be that way because they're never going to give you a repeat of a game that just happened in the first round of the playoffs.
Yes.
They're never going to do that. We had a pretty good idea going in that the best 4 teams in the country were, in whatever order you want, Georgia, Michigan, Alabama, and Cincinnati. And that if one of those teams, Alabama, got a second loss, which is a cardinal sin from the college football playoff, then it would have been Oklahoma State or it would have been Notre Dame. And that's exactly what it would have been. And Alabama would have lost their right, in my opinion, to play for a title, even though they may have been one of the best 4 teams. because they lost to Georgia, who's in there. And I would have been fine with that. But we have the best 4 teams in the college football playoff, right?
In my opinion, yes.
Ian, we got the best 4 teams in the college football playoff, right?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. I got friends that are Big Ten fans. And boy, were they crying yesterday. Oh, my God. Just like I imagine it's like for my friend with the 5-year-old and the 3-year-old, how it's always something.
It's always a temper tantrum.
It's always something with college football fans. Now, look, I'm an SEC guy. The SEC is no different. I mean, the SEC complains as much, if not more, than anybody else. But the Big Ten fans, oh, my God. One's a Michigan fan, one's an Ohio State fan. Georgia doesn't belong in the college football playoff. Who has Georgia played? Look at their schedule. Let's put. Going into the weekend, everybody, and I mean everybody, thought Georgia was the number 1 team in America. That includes me. Georgia goes out and plays the greatest coach of all time, the Heisman Trophy winner, and a team that is already considered in the top 4 in Alabama. They get beat. So now we have to kick them out. It should be noted, Ohio State lost early in the season. And guess what? They let Ohio State back in the top 4. Wasn't until Ohio State lost again that they were out. Alabama lost earlier in the season. They let them back in the top 4. Wasn't until they would have lost again that they would have been out. I mean, look, I think Georgia is not as good as we all cracked them up to be. Trevor Maddich will join us in less than 30 minutes. We'll ask Trevor, does he think Georgia's not that good anymore? I don't know. But can we please stop with the crying that Georgia didn't belong in the playoff? There's only one other team that you could have considered for the playoff, and it's Notre Dame, who lost to what we would all probably say is the 4th best team at home by double digits. Georgia lost to the number 1 team in a neutral site in the SEC championship game. They deserve to be in there. And the Big Ten fans crying too, we don't want a rematch of Alabama versus Georgia. Well, guess what? I don't want a rematch, or not even a rematch. I don't want a Super Bowl of the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Arizona Cardinals. And I'm sure NBC, who has the Super Bowl this year, doesn't want it either. I'm sure they much rather have the Dallas Cowboys or Tom Brady and the Buccaneers taking on, I don't know, what would be a good matchup for Brady and the Bucs in the Super Bowl? Patriots?
Maybe
I'm sure they'd like that. And that's why TV would love for Michigan to beat Georgia, and they would love for Alabama and Michigan in the final. But that's not how sports works. TV doesn't get to decide who makes it to the championship. Georgia belongs in the college football playoff. If you want to argue that you think Georgia should be ahead of Cincinnati, that's your prerogative. But then I can also argue that Michigan should be ahead of Alabama. You can make whatever argument you want. The truth is, there are 4 teams that should be playing for the championship in college football. We have the 4 teams that should be playing for the championship in college football playing against each other. Now let's let it go. Let's let them play. I think Alabama's better than Cincinnati. But guess what? I thought Georgia was better than Alabama. I thought Ohio State was better than Michigan. I was wrong, and I was wrong. And in both cases, dominant performances. So this idea of, well, Georgia shouldn't have got, if you weren't crying before last week that you didn't think Georgia was the number 1 team in the country, then you can't cry today. And I'm sure there's some Big Ten Bobo out there who will stand up on the table and will say, I thought Michigan should have been ahead of Georgia based on the fact that Georgia hadn't played anybody, but I don't know who said it. I didn't hear that from Paul Feinbaum, and I didn't hear that from Kirk Herbstreit, and I didn't hear that from Desmond Howard, and I didn't hear that from any of those guys. For months, we have considered the Georgia Bulldogs to be the number 1 team in the country. They didn't lose some fluky game. They didn't lose to Michigan State They didn't lose to Alcorn State. They didn't lose to Georgia. They got housed by Alabama in the SEC championship game. Guess what? They still deserve to be in the playoff. And whatever order you want to rank these 4 teams other than Cincinnati at number 1, I think you can make a solid case. I mean, I think it'd be hard to argue Georgia at the top. But if you wanted to argue Michigan ahead of Alabama, I think you could do that. But this is what we've got. And to the Big Ten fans that are crying, one of my buddies who's a Michigan fan said basically, hey, I just don't want to play Georgia because I think they're going to beat us. I understand that. But this is championship sports. And I'd say go beat Georgia. You want an opportunity. You earned your opportunity by thrashing Ohio State and demolishing Iowa. And after those 2 games, who's to say you aren't as good as Alabama? I don't know. But don't come crying to me because it's a 9.5-point spread, and you're like, well, we have to play Georgia. Georgia's quarterback who couldn't throw against Alabama is not going to be able to throw against you either. Now, I don't know if Michigan's going to be good enough, but, I mean, I'm excited for that matchup. I think it's a good matchup. Cincinnati's cried all year for an opportunity to get a chance to make the playoff. They're going to get their chance. Now, look, you're getting Alabama coming off of one of their most impressive wins of the Saban era, but you get your chance. And that's all I think you can ask for in college football. I don't need to hear from Big Ten fans, and I know it's only a couple of my buddies, but it's like when you have 2 Big Ten buddies and they both cry about the same thing, it makes me think that is what the Big Ten crybaby network is going through. I don't want to hear about it from the Big Ten. Georgia deserved to be in the playoff. Michigan deserved to be in the playoff. Michigan deserves to wear home jerseys against Georgia in the playoff. Now go beat them. That's all I got on there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you could argue about where teams should have ended up in the final rankings. I think that a big part of rankings are all recency bias.
Sure.
Because let's not forget that Alabama lost to an unranked Texas A&M team. And that Michigan's only loss on the season is to the 10th best team in the country. And Georgia's only loss on the season was from, at the time, the 3rd best team in the country in Alabama. So, I mean, you could make an argument that Georgia should be 2. You can make an argument that Michigan should be 1. But what I don't want to hear is people making the argument that Georgia didn't play anyone in the regular season, and since they got, whooped by Alabama, they have no place in the college football playoff. Don't you dare. Because I hear the whole argument of you can only play who's on your schedule. And that's the argument for Cincinnati. A lot of people saying that Cincinnati didn't play a difficult enough schedule and that they didn't earn their way into the playoff. Sure. You play who's on your schedule. Georgia played who is on their schedule. Their most impressive win is what? Now, looking back, Kentucky. Maybe. A 30-13 win over Kentucky. I mean, we thought at the time that beating Clemson by a touchdown was revolutionary. Now we know that's not necessarily the case. Georgia played who was on their schedule, and they whooped just about everyone who was on their schedule. I don't think you can say necessarily the same thing about Cincinnati. I don't think that every single one of those games was a butt beating.
No, there were people that were upset that they didn't beat some of these AAC schools by more.
And they probably should have beaten some of these AAC schools by more. But Georgia played who was on their schedule, and they whooped them, and it was an SEC schedule. Cincinnati beat every team on their schedule, and you could argue that they didn't beat them by enough, or the eye test didn't do it for them.
Well, to me, Notre Dame's the 5th best team.
The 5th best team got beat by you in your house, so you deserve your way.
My bigger thing here is that everybody just changes the discussion to whatever they want it to be, which is for Georgia. If you don't want Georgia in the playoff, your discussion is they didn't beat anybody. If your discussion for why somebody shouldn't be in is, well, they had a bad loss and the other teams had good losses. And I just think the way I've determined it is I don't think there's an argument for a 5th team here. I don't think Notre Dame has an argument. I don't think they have a single argument. Who's Notre Dame's best win? Purdue?
Maybe.
Like Boston College?
But that's never the argument whenever Notre Dame gets into the playoff is who have they beaten all year.
No.
Because it's Notre Dame.
No, they got to the national championship game against Alabama, got embarrassed. They didn't play a single team that year. I mean, they got embarrassed. Georgia, who lost in the SEC title game at the very, very, very end, was much better and would have smoked Notre Dame. But that didn't matter when it was a 2-team BCS. With this, we got the 4 best teams in there. Now let's let them play. 615-737-1025. We're to your phones on this next. Plus, the one thing about the playoff with the 4 teams nobody's talking about, Trevor Maddich will also join us later this hour as well. 615-737-1025. FanDuel Sportsbook is my official sportsbook app. The NFL is heading into the home stretch, and they are giving away tonight a big Week 13 divisional matchup with the Patriots and Bills with a great odds boost because FanDuel is giving new customers 30-1 odds on either team to win. That means that if you're a new customer, you can win $150 on a $5 bet. I think with the wind, I think I'm going to have to take Buffalo. I think I took Buffalo on Friday. I think I got to roll with Buffalo in this one. Josh Allen, give me under passing yards with the wind. Under on all the passing yards, though, for a same-game parlay. FanDuel Sports Betting made simple, and they're always hooking you up with great offers, and that's why they're the number one rated sportsbook app in the country. It's easy to win, easy to use, and when you win, you'll get paid in as little as 2 hours. If you're already a FanDuel Sportsbook member, then you can get $50 when you refer a friend, plus your friend will get $50 too. Just sign up with the promo code JGM before tonight's game. You can win $150 on a $5 bet. Again, that's promo code JGM so they know that I sent you exclusively on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. New users only, $10 first deposit required. Must wager in a designated offer market. Max bonus $150. Bonus for Tennessee users fulfilled in site credit within 72 hours. Tennessee site credit expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
102.5 The Game and Cromwell Media are teaming up with Souls for Souls this holiday season for Souls for Music City.
Thank you to everyone who's helping us.
Every $20 donation equals a brand new pair of athletic shoes for a local child experiencing homelessness in Middle Tennessee.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Log on to thegamenashville.com/shoes to learn more on how you can help bring a smile to a child's face at a time of need. Souls for Music City is brought to you by Newton Motor Group.
Thank you so much.
Some people think fall is the best time of the year. It may also be a great time to consider getting vaccinated against COVID-19. Sponsored by BioNTech and Pfizer.
Hey, Darren McFarland here, and let me tell you about my friends at Curation CBD. If you're like me and have aches and pains all over your body, and you've been searching for a solution, well, I've got it. It's Curation CBD. Curation means healing, and that right there says it all. Curation is locally and organically sourced CBD products right here from Middle Tennessee. From seed to final sell, Curation is passionate about providing quality products for everyday use for athletes and for pets, too. Order yours now at CurationCompany.com. Curation CBD, curated for life.
Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is here to serve you. Is your AC or heating unit old and inefficient? Is it breaking down yearly? Now is the time to replace it. Waiting can cost you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Just like everything, the cost of a new AC unit is rising. Effective January 1st, all manufacturers are increasing prices up to 10%. Get ahead of the game and call Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, offering 60 months, no interest financing, and 10-year parts and labor warranty on all new units. Schedule now at springhillac.com or call 615-778-8855.
Hockey fans, tune in to Robbie and Rexroad every Wednesday morning at 9:30 for expert commentary on the Predators and the NHL with the Preds beat writer from The Athletic, Adam Vingan. Brought to you by the Bank of England Mortgage.
Our connections make powerful things happen, uniting individuals and communities. We are Rotary. We are people of action. With over 1 million members, we know what people can do when they come together. Around the world, generations of leaders build new friendships and solve problems, turning great ideas into reality. Take action with us. Find out more at Rotary.org/action.
If you've missed any of today's show, just search Stillman and Company on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.
You guys gave us a lot of really positive rat poison. The rat poison that you usually give us is usually fatal. But the rat poison that you put out there this week was yummy.
Saban just cracking jokes. I felt like the media in there, that was like how Floyd used to be whenever we play a clip of Saban getting all worked up. By the way, something I was thinking about, remember from 2 weeks ago when Saban went nuts about fans getting too hard on the team for only winning by a little bit against good teams?
Yes.
You think that worked? Like, now, they didn't play great against Auburn, but they won that game. Mm-hmm. But do you think that had anything to do with the performance we saw from Alabama on Saturday?
His rant?
Yes.
I don't think so.
I think Saban just got wild. I don't think Saban was trying to send a message with that rant.
No, I think he
just got pissed.
I think that Flip just switched.
I think it was a caller on his show.
Something I think he was feeling that for a while, and something just went off in him, and he just went off on this rant. I don't think he had any sort of ulterior motive, and I don't think that's kind of what fueled them yesterday.
We'll get to your phone 615-737-1025 phone line driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com. How's our poll doing, by the way? Caroline is convinced that most of the people in the Southeastern Conference that are fans do not like Nick Saban. I think it's the exact opposite. I think almost everybody loves Nick Saban.
Well, okay, so some of the responses to it are, no, I don't like him, but I respect him. I appreciate what he's done for the sport. So
I hate people like that, by the way.
Why?
Either you like him or you don't like him.
I don't like him. I respect him. I don't like him.
I hate that. I respect him, but I don't like him.
Why? Why don't you like that? Because you love him and respect him?
Well, I'll give you an example. When Peyton Manning used to play the Titans back in the day, I never had a beef.
It's 65-35 currently.
I never had a beef with Peyton. He always killed the Titans. Year in, year out. You'd have to play Peyton twice. I wasn't a Tennessee fan, so it wasn't like, well, I love him because he played for the Orange. It wasn't. I never had a beef with Peyton. I never was like, oh, I can't stand that Peyton. And it's like the people that are like, I can't stand that Saban are just jealous. And that's where
there's probably a bit of truth to that. I'm not going to deny that. I mean, Saban coached at my school, won a national championship with my school, left my school, and then came back to coach my school's rival. And that my school's rival has been the reason why my school has been left out of a lot of national contention. So, yeah, I don't like him. Am I jealous? Do I wish he was the coach of my school still? Yeah.
Les Miles is not winning a national championship at Alabama if he's not, or at LSU if he's not inheriting Saban's program.
Then there's probably truth to that.
And it doesn't mean really competing with Saban when he won his national title. Now, Ed O, that could be totally different. But I even feel like honestly, do LSU people really hate Saban?
Yes.
He put LSU on the map.
Yes, LSU fans do hate him. And I think they're looking at it probably in a smaller lens of, you were with us, you left us, and now you've brought another school more success. And that school just happens to be our biggest rival.
I think people for a while...
Don't tell me who I should like and who I should not like.
I actually think for a while people did dislike Saban. But now I think they just, now he's just such a likable guy.
Is he?
Oh, my God. Did you hear the rat poison comment? Everybody loved that.
I'm not going to have this argument with you because you are so obsessed with him and that your thoughts on Saban will not change.
Well, I consider Nick a friend.
And I don't want you to change your thoughts on Saban. And I know that you have a close relationship with him.
Well, close is...
You have a relationship with him.
I would just say I consider him a friend. No, that's what I say every time. Because I'm not sure he really considers me a friend, but I consider him a friend. So you can't.
So anything that I say is going to go in 1 year and out the other with you.
That's because
you aren't going to change my thoughts on Nick Saban.
I don't know any rational person that doesn't like Nick Saban, other than you. You're a rational person. You don't like Nick Saban. Let's go to your phone.
I don't like Nick Saban.
615-737-1025. By the way, 65% in today's America, where everybody complains about everything, is an overwhelming majority. Let's go.
65% is an overwhelming majority.
Yeah, it's not unanimous, but it is. 58%. For a presidential candidate to get 58% of the vote would be in today's society. Back
this
in
isn't
the
a
day,
presidential candidate.
Jimmy Carter, back in those days, it was commonplace for one guy to house the other guy. Now, with everything being so polarized, Biden won by 5 million votes or 8 million votes or something like that. And it was 52% to 48%, whatever, in terms of the population. That's how polarizing things are, which is my way of saying that people just complain to complain. And I think that our pure complaining percentage is 35% here.
So I'm just complaining about it.
Yes. Just the complainers.
My thoughts are invalid because you like him and I don't.
What did Saban ever do to hurt anybody? Let's go to your phone, 615-737-1025.
One texter texts in and says, we don't have the best 4 teams in the playoffs, but we do have the correct 4 teams in the playoff. I think Cincinnati is worse than at least 6 teams, but they had the chips fall their way.
How can you say that? I don't understand this. How can we look at this and say, Cincinnati doesn't belong? They won every game they played. They won the biggest games that they had to win by large margins. They beat Notre Dame by double digits on the road. Notre Dame's the 5th best team in the country. You know, the one thing you can't do in the college football playoff is if you don't have a great schedule, you can't lose once. And if you're not in a big conference, you can't lose once. And if you can't lose twice. And they didn't do it. And Notre Dame was the only other team in contention for the playoff. And they beat them at home. So you can say, well, I think in my head that who's the 3rd best team in the SEC this year?
Ole Miss.
Oh, God. Like, hey, let's put Ole Miss.
8th best team in the country.
Yeah. Let's put Ole Miss on the field with Cincinnati. Guess what? You don't know that Cincinnati's not going to win. Guess what? You don't know Cincinnati's not going to beat Alabama. I don't think Cincinnati's going to beat Alabama, but guess what? They may have the best chance of any of the 3 teams that aren't Alabama in the playoff because they're the only team that's got a quarterback. So they've got Desmond Ridder. And again, if you're going to beat Saban, you got to have a quarterback. And Michigan runs the football every play. Georgia wants to run the football every play. Desmond Ridder is a good quarterback. Good quarterbacks give Saban fits. What's next?
We have some more input on the Saban stuff. Nate says, I don't like Saban. Another texter says, I don't even like college football and I can't stand Saban. And Andrew says, Saban seems like a smug a-hole about as likable as Bill Belichick.
So this is what happens, is everybody in their car that's the 65% is like, yeah, of course I like Saban. The end doesn't think about it.
Because that doesn't fit your narrative.
The 35% crybaby group is like, can't get their phones out of their pockets fast enough to tell us, I hate Saban too. Caroline, I'm with you. I hate Nick Saban. He just wins so much.
So don't tell me that I'm the only person who doesn't like him.
I told you 35%. These people are 35%ers. It's your poll.
Yes.
My poll.
And this is the text line.
Because half the people in my poll didn't go to LSU. Half the people in your poll did go to LSU.
Well, I don't know who responded to the poll. Could reach anyone.
Okay.
Saban has beaten my team 14 straight years. How can one smile and enjoy your team losing 14 straight? Doesn't happen.
14 years is a lot.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have a team in the SEC that you are ride or die for.
Saban killed us to open the season a couple years ago. I mean,
Vanderbilt?
No.
Louisville.
But
you don't play them every year.
And I didn't.
You don't play them every year. There's a team that, I mean, we got embarrassed by Troy on homecoming when I was in school. I don't look back at Troy. I don't look back at Troy and say, gosh, I hate that Troy head coach. Because we lost to them once.
Neil Brown, the head coach at West Virginia. I like Neil Brown. Coming up next, Trevor Maddich, his reaction to the weekend, his reaction to the playoff. We decided to move Trevor up a day because college football du jour. Trevor will join us next. 615-737-1025. Who needs to lose weight? The end of the year is such a hard time because you got holiday parties, you got cookies, you got cakes, you got dinners at grandma's house, everything. Semaglutide is the key to your success. Semaglutide is carried exclusively by my friends at Invigorate Health, online at InvigorateHealthTN.com. Semaglutide has been around for years for diabetic patients. It has recently been approved by the FDA for weight loss. Everybody at Invigorate Health, or not everybody, but a lot of the people at Invigorate Health are on Semaglutide and have had unbelievable results. I have talked to multiple doctors about the efficacy of Semaglutide and about the safety of Semaglutide, and they all back it. So if you are trying to lose weight and you cannot stop and you just want to lose weight, you just wish you didn't eat as much, you just wanted to feel fuller, Semaglutide is your answer, carried exclusively at Invigorate Health, InvigorateHealthTN.com. And Mount Juliet, Invigorate Health. Talk to my friends today about Semaglutide. Stillman and Company, CSPN 102.5 The Game.
Hey, this is Philip Forsberg. And this is Smashville.
Forsberg in the circle. He scores! Philip Forsberg! What a rocket!
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
This holiday season, head into Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the hottest gifts from Titleist and Bushnell. Feel the difference with the Titleist T-Series irons. 4 models to give you maximum performance for any type of dedicated golfer. And don't miss these hot gifts from Bushnell, like the Tour V5 and the Tour V5 Shift with pin seeker technology, or the Wingman with Bluetooth and audible GPS for distance. Edwin Watts Golf Shops is home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee, or shop us online for the holidays at worldwidegolfshops.com.
It's the end of the year blowout sale at Social Furniture. Save up to 70% off Ashley Furniture. Social Furniture has truckloads of the best selection of furniture. Get your nightstands, mattresses, bar stools, sofas, and recliners. All on sale now. Come first for the best selection of furniture before it's gone. And you don't want to miss out. Visit Social Furniture on the west side at 5412 Charlotte Avenue. On the web at mysocialfurniture.com. Social Furniture is a proud supporter of your Nashville Predators.
Touchdown, Leonard Fournette.
Witness tomorrow's NFL stars this December at the TransPerfect Music City Bowl.
Eli back to throw, avoids pressure, steps up, has a man wide open, Armstrong in the end zone, touchdown.
Don't miss a second as 2 of college football's most exciting programs from the SEC and Big Ten go head-to-head on Thursday, December 30th at 2 p.m. inside Nissan Stadium. For more information on this year's game, including ticket availability, visit MusicCityBowl.com to get your tickets today.
Are you interested in starting your own business? Join the Blink Law Entrepreneur Summit on February 2nd for their one-day event to help anyone start a business. Not only will you hear from experienced entrepreneurs from a variety of fields, but all attendees will also get a one-on-one consultation with an attorney who will register your business. You will leave the event with certified documents and an officially registered business. This is a great opportunity for anyone who wants to jumpstart a new business. For more information and to register, go to facebook.com/BlinkLawLLC.
Hey Nashville, Vanderbilt football coach Clark Lee here, inviting you to tune in on ESPN 94.9 every Monday at 6 p.m. for the Commodore Hour, providing you with exclusive insights on Vanderbilt athletics.
Hey Nashville, this is David Price. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
The Final Four is set for the college football playoff. We cried all year long about the rankings. We thatted. Everybody knew at about 8:30 on Saturday night who the Final Four teams were, and most people knew what the order was going to be. I didn't know where they were going to send Alabama and Georgia, so I wasn't sure about that. But the college football playoff is out. I love it. Alabama, Cincinnati. I don't think Cincinnati's going to win, but at least they're going to get a shot. That's all you can ask for is a shot. Michigan, Georgia. I think Georgia still deserved to be in there. Michigan has played their butts off. Trevor Maddich joins us, ESPN college football analyst, to react to the weekend that was, presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters. First of all, Trev, thank you for joining us on a Monday instead of a Tuesday with all the college football news. But I want to start with this. What did you think on Saturday going into it about what would happen, and what did you feel after the games were over on Saturday?
Okay, I thought that in the Big Ten championship game, Jared, Michigan would beat Iowa. I didn't expect them to annihilate Iowa's defense. The Hawkeyes can't move the ball. I expected that. But Michigan's offense was just incredible against a truly good Hawkeyes defense. That surprised me. And then, coming into the game, I thought Alabama would give it their best shot. But I thought Georgia would be just too good. I thought that Alabama would be one-dimensional, that they wouldn't be able to run the ball at all, and that Bryce Young wouldn't be able to do enough as a one-dimensional offense to be able to get the win. And I wasn't sure which defense would show up for Alabama because they've been up and down. So Alabama, for one of the few times this year in SEC play, showed up on both sides of the ball at the highest level that they could play. And that's kind of weird because this year that has not been their feature. And when they are showing up at the highest level of their potential on both sides of the ball, as we see, they're the best team in the country. And so I thought that Georgia would knock Bama out of there. We'd have some controversy for that number 4 spot. But as it turned out, the committee got the greatest gift they could have gotten. They got the 4 teams. The only controversy, if you can call it that, would be the seeding. And nobody was going to get mad at them for leaving their team out, which was a real gift for a committee that's such a lightning rod.
So I want to go back to the SEC championship game. I started the show off today with almost like an ode to Nick Saban. But I thought this may be his second most impressive performance as the coach of Alabama, with the SEC title game in 2009 over Florida as kind of the number one to me, where it was an excellent game plan. He put the ball in Stetson Bennett's hands. Alabama followed the game plan to a T. He had the team as motivated as they have been all season. They were efficient offensively. They got down 10-0, didn't panic. But on the other side of it, too, I think there's something mental with Kirby Smart. And when he got down, when Alabama came back immediately after being down 10-0, made it 14-0, I said 4 hours away here in Nashville, I felt Kirby Smart melting to the ground in Atlanta. What do you make of Saban's performance on Saturday, and what do you make of Kirby's?
Well, that's Saban. I agree with you, Jared. That was one of the best coaching jobs I've ever seen him do because of the nature of his team this year. You never know what team you're going to have. And this team in SEC play was up and down and up and down and up and down. I mean, the defense got pushed around by Florida. They got pushed around because of missed assignments by Texas A&M, right? They had all kinds of trouble. But then they looked dominant against Ole Miss and Mississippi State, the defense. The offense was making up for the defensive inconsistency. All of a sudden, they play LSU, and they got, what do they have? Auburn. They didn't score a single touchdown on offense until the final minute when Bryce Young led that epic 97-yard touchdown drive to tie the game and put it into overtime. So you had offense and defense not in sync, not showing up at the same time most of the time. And then all of a sudden they do here when it mattered most. And the thing is, the locker room wasn't getting it done. That's why that happens. Alabama's always best when they've got alphas in the locker room like John Allen and Deron Payne, Rolando McClain, guys like that, so that issues usually are solved before they ever reach Nick Saban's desk. And this one, I think Saban had to do more coaching, and he had to do more psychology and more therapy, and it all paid off. And so I agree that is this is one of the best coaching jobs I've ever seen him do. As far as Kirby goes, he's well aware of the dangers in this game coming into it. Because you just go back to most recent history. You know, out in the SEC championship game, what was it, 2018, something like that? Yeah. Georgia was winning the game.
He ran that stupid fake punt.
Yeah, right? Yeah, they're doing crazy stuff. So then, at the end, Alabama needs a drive in the fourth quarter to win it. Tua gets hurt during the drive. Jalen Hurts comes in cold off the bench and continues the drive. Ends up making some outstanding throws that you would be proud of Tua for making, much less Jalen. And then he ends up running it in for what amounted to the game-winning touchdown. So they snatched the SEC championship out of Georgia's jaws when Georgia had it clamped down. And then before that, of course, is the national championship game that went to overtime. Tua goes in there as a freshman, replaces Jalen because he's ineffective. Tua in overtime gives up that massive sack. Everybody thought it's over, and all of a sudden Tua drops back and throws the ball deep down the left sideline to a future Heisman Trophy winner, Devontae Smith, and 2 stars are born, right? And that snatched victory from the jaws of Georgia. They had the national championship one. So here they go again. This time, they're favored. This time, everybody knows they're the best team in the country. Everybody knows Alabama's inconsistent. This is the time for Georgia to exercise the demons. And what happens? The demons bit them in the face and shook them around like the demons of Alabama were the bulldog, and the bulldog was a mouse.
But do you think that's like a mental thing for Kirby?
Kirby knew that was coming.
Do you think that's like a mental thing for Kirby? Like Kirby, they're up 10-0, Georgia is. Alabama, I think they hit the ball to number 1, that unbelievable receiver, Williams. They hit that touchdown. Then they go right down the field. They score a touchdown again. It's 14-10. And I'm telling you, Trevor, I'm like, I can feel Kirby's heart palpitating in my living room. And I'm 4.5 hours away. And I'm saying, like, I think it's in Kirby's head. And I don't know if it's because there's something about Saban that Kirby, that basically he shrivels up, when he's playing Saban, or if there's something that Saban knows about Kirby because he was around him for so long. But it's obvious to me that Saban's got a mental edge on Kirby Smart.
I think he does, but I think the mental edge is less than the adjustments in game, and also adjustments, from what you've been doing so far this season into the next game plan. There's nobody better in college football than Nick Saban at doing those sorts of things. And so what do? The first thing that stood out to me, I'm on College Game Day on ESPN Radio watching this game, and the first thing that stood out was the tempo that Alabama played on offense. They came out and just lined up and ran it fast. They looked like Tennessee a lot of the time. And all of a sudden, you look at those 340-pound, 315-pound, those massive future first-round draft choice defensive linemen of Georgia, and they were gassed early. And by committing to the run and being effective enough at the run, which I think Georgia didn't expect either. I thought that they'd put it in the hands of Young and let him try to get it done. They still rushed the ball 26 times for 4.5 yards a carry, Alabama did. And by doing that, they were able to stay even with the chains. They converted 50% of their third downs. And when they did that, they kept that defense on the field, tempo, wore them down, and all of a sudden the pass rush wasn't as effective as it could have been. This is what Utah did to Alabama back in the Sugar Bowl back in the day with Terrence Cody. Remember that? Utah came out at hyper speed and did it to Nick Saban. That's when Saban started to go with smaller defensive linemen, smaller linebackers, so they could deal with those up-tempo offenses when he couldn't substitute within the drive. And that's what Bama did to Georgia. Now, whether or not Kirby was prepared for that, I don't know, but it certainly works to perfection in terms of Nick Saban's point of view.
Trevor, I'm in love with the Michigan Wolverines. Now, I don't know if they're going to be Georgia or not, but I think Sharon Moore, their co-offensive coordinator, offensive line coach, I think he should be up for some head coaching jobs because that offensive line at Michigan is nasty, and I think Harbaugh has done a terrific job. And I wonder this, if Harbaugh getting the monkey off his back, the one we're talking about right now with Kirby, Harbaugh gets the monkey off his back against Ohio State, maybe Michigan is every bit as dominant or every bit as good as Georgia and Alabama. What have you thought of them over the last 2 weeks?
You know what? I'm trying to find reasons why Michigan doesn't really have a chance to win it all. And I can't find those reasons. I think Michigan is a good matchup for both Georgia and Alabama. Michigan's defense, one of the best in the country. Probably not quite as good as as Georgia, but certainly they're up there with Alabama on defense. And offensively, you're right. Cade McNamara at quarterback has been very efficient. He's been accurate on those few times that he does throw the ball down the field. So that is always a threat that the defense has to respect. They don't throw it downfield a lot, but when they do, it seems to work at a very high level. But then the rushing attack. The offensive line of Michigan, I think, is the best offensive line in all of college football. We know about their two-headed running backs, two-headed monster there. They are outstanding at running back, and they can make big plays when they bust through the line. And the offensive line can hold up against a defense like Michigan's or Alabama's. And keep in mind that we talk a lot about the individuals of those SEC teams. Especially Will Anderson of Alabama, linebacker. He's second on my Heisman list only to Bryce Young. And it's good for Bryce that Anderson came out and said, hey, give it to Bryce so that they don't split votes. He was actually probably giving instructions to the voters. But when you look at Michigan, the combination of David Ojabo and Aiden Hutchinson is the best pair of edge rushers in all of college football. As a pair, no other duo does what they do in terms of number of sacks, pressures, and tackles for loss. And so you've got the ability to pressure the quarterback without having to blitz, and then you've got a solid secondary with a safety that's going to go in the first round, and maybe some others. So it's an interesting matchup, and it's hard to find the weak spot of Michigan. Now, they have not been like Alabama, have they? They haven't been up and down and up and down. They had some tough games that they played, but overall, with the exception of the fourth quarter against Michigan State, this Michigan team has basically shown what they are week in and week out.
Trevor Matich, ESPN college football analyst, is our guest, presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters. On the other side, what Saban did in the SEC championship game I thought was masterful. I don't think he's going to be able to do it against Cincinnati. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company. Trev's with us at ESPN 102.5 The Game.
from the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
Temperatures will continue to slowly drop as we head into the evening hours. Under mainly clear skies, we drop back to the upper 20s for early Tuesday. Highs stay chilly in the afternoon in the mid-40s. For Fox 17, I'm Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Some people think fall is the best time of the year. It may also be a great time to consider getting vaccinated against COVID-19. Sponsored by BioNTech and Pfizer.
It's the 12 days of Christmas at Genesis Diamonds with the best gift ever. 5 years, zero interest financing. That's right. For the first 12 days of December, you get the unbeatable Genesis value price, plus zero interest financing for 5 years with nothing down. Shop early for Christmas and get that $5,000 pair of diamond stud earrings for just $84 a month. Or that $6,000 diamond eternity band, just $100 a month. Our showcases are stocked with the best holiday gifts. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, colored gemstone jewelry, unique handcrafted one-of-a-kind gifts that are sure to be the headliner gift at your house this Christmas. And now through December 12th, everything's affordable with 5 years zero interest financing. How about splurging on a $10,000 tennis bracelet and paying just $167 a month? Don't miss this special finance offer now through December 12th. Merry Christmas from Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. On approved credit, see store for details. Are you suffering from chronic joint pain like Heather?
I have terrible arthritis and have had it for quite a while, and I've gone to all kinds of doctors trying to figure out what to do, and everybody just said surgery, and surgery was months of rehab, and I didn't want to do that.
But then Heather discovered QC Kinetics, local medical professionals who specialize in natural biologic treatments, non-invasive solutions designed to repair and restore damaged tissue in your joints. And she absolutely loves the results.
I like to tell anybody who's suffering that there are options that are not steroids, that are not surgery. You owe it to yourself to find out about QC Kinetics and find out what they can do for you.
No surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Discover QC Kinetics and learn more about natural biologic treatments with lasting results.
Call QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. Don't wait. Call today. QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024.
Contest rules for 102.5 The Game and ESPN 94.9, including on-air, online, and text-based contests, are available by visiting the contest rules page at thegamenashville.com. Good luck and thanks for listening to 102.5 The Game and ESPN 94.9.
Darren McFarland.
He's cool. He's got a personality, and they make fun of him.
Willie Donick.
Would this be a fun guy to come to work and hang around with all day?
Chase McCabe.
They're just like, hey, we need you to play yourself.
Darren, Donick, and Chase have you covered weekdays from 10 to 2. Presented by Curacion CBD on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is Stillman and Company, delivered by TriStar Moving.
Trevor Maddich is with us, presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics. When experience matters, ESPN college football analyst Trevor Maddich. So, Trev, I have a theory, and I've always had theories in my life. I love Nick Saban's game plan on Saturday. He basically said, Stetson Bennett, you've been managing the game all season. You're going to manage the game against us, or you're going to beat us. And it's one or the other, and Stetson Bennett is not good enough, in my opinion, to beat Alabama. And it made me think this. In order to really beat Saban, you got to have a quarterback. You got to have Joe Burrow. You got to have Trevor Lawrence. You got to have Deshaun Watson. You got to have Johnny Manziel. You got to have Tim Tebow. You got to have a quarterback, a good quarterback to beat him. I wonder, is Desmond Ridder at Cincinnati the best quarterback outside of Bryce Young, the best quarterback in this playoff, and is he good enough to give Saban fits that Stetson Bennett could not have on Saturday?
You know, outside of Bryce Young, you can make a case that he's the best quarterback in this playoff. And because of what he did in the offseason, if he's able to hit on all cylinders, then, yeah, he can drive Cincinnati to a win. I think it's not a foregone conclusion that Alabama is going to win this game. I mean, they're heavily favored, and if Alabama plays like they did against Georgia, no one can beat them. No one in the playoff can beat them. Michigan, I think, has the best chance. But if they're a little bit off in certain places, and Cincinnati will do things to try to put them off with tempo and some kind of an odd defense, that 3-3-5 defense, et cetera, then it's all up to Desmond Ridder. Keep in mind, though, that while the Cincinnati defense has been solid and steady all year long, the Cincinnati offense, especially down the stretch, the last 6 weeks or so, has disappeared at times. They've taken quarters off, a half off. Even against Houston, they struggled in the first half. And then, they scored 2 long touchdowns, and that was more than half of their total yards in the first half on those 2 plays. They just kind of didn't show up the rest of the time. They ripped off 3 straight touchdowns coming out of halftime and then didn't do anything either. So Ridder and that offense will have to be like coming out of halftime against Houston the entire game. But if they are, here's what Ridder can do. He's known as being a great runner, and he is. Especially if he gets into the open field, he can stride it out, and he can outrun you to the end zone. But he's improved his passing. Last year he was known as a great runner, decent thrower. This year his craft as a passer, his accuracy, his mechanics have all improved because he worked with the quarterback coach in the offseason. And so he'll need to bring that into this game. Because if he's able to do both, be a serious run threat and be a serious passing threat, he's got speed on the perimeter that can give Alabama all kinds of problems. And it'll all come down to his accuracy and his poise. And so this is the game for Desmond Ridder to play the game of his life, because if he does, then this Cincinnati team has a chance to knock off Alabama.
Trev, I got friends that are huge Big Ten fans. One's an Ohio State fan, another's a Michigan fan, and they've been crying about Georgia's schedule. And I laughed at this, but it's this sense that Georgia didn't beat anybody this year. And now that they lost to Alabama, we should question their entrance to the college football playoff. What do you think?
That's silly. That's just absolutely silly. It's fair that their schedule this year turned out to be not what we thought it was, mostly because Clemson turned out to be not who we thought they were. But Michigan's in the playoff, right? So they didn't do, Michigan, what Georgia did. Georgia played a bunch of teams that they were better than, but they played some pretty good teams. Just didn't play elite teams. They didn't beat Ohio State when Ohio State was in the top 5 and finished in the top 10 like Michigan did. So that's fair. But when you look at Georgia, they only beat Nebraska by 3 points. That's not dominant. They beat Rutgers 20-13. This is Michigan now, the playoff team. You're playing Rutgers at home. You beat them by a touchdown. That's all you can manage to do, right? You lose to Michigan State after you're being up by 16 points. And then at Penn State, a banged-up Penn State, you win that game by 4 points. So you can make the case if you're Georgia that, yeah, Michigan had that one big win, but they also had a bunch of games that they really weren't as dominant as Georgia was against that caliber of team. So I wouldn't say that Georgia's not worthy. I think Georgia is worthy. And you know what? Hard to beat the same team twice. If that ends up being a rematch in the championship game, Alabama better strap it on.
See, I just don't think Stetson Bennett can win. I think that you can do this. If you're Alabama, you can do this over the years when you've got a game manager at quarterback, but you got better players at every position, which is exactly what Georgia is what Alabama used to be. But if you noticed ever since Jameis Winston and Nick Saban tried to get by with like Blake Sims, ever since then, I've seen Alabama go out there and go recruit good quarterbacks. And we've seen Tua and Jalen Hurts and Mac Jones and now Bryce Young. They're getting the best quarterbacks in the country. And I just think Saban's going to say, okay, you want a game manager at quarterback, then you're going to have to make that game manager beat me. And I don't think these guys can beat them.
It's fair that Alabama had a huge edge at quarterback. But then again, they're going to have a huge edge at quarterback against almost everybody that they play, right? And so the question is, did Stetson Bennett play well enough against Alabama in the SEC championship game to win? Did he play well enough to win? And if you look at quarterback rating, so just look at it dispassionately.
Well, hold on. Before you get to the stats, do you think he played well enough to win?
Yes, I do.
Oh, my God, Trev, come on.
Yeah. No, he had that pick six that was bad. He had another interception as well. But the thing is, I thought he scored 24 points against an Alabama defense that was on fire. And then when you look at stats, I'm just talking about quarterback rating now. Quarterback rating, it rates how the quarterback does beyond just passing. It's a combination of your throwing, your running, your decision-making, when you make a play, when you fail to make a play. It grades you down if you fail to make a play on third down more than if you fail to make the play on first down kind of thing. 100 is perfect, 50 is average. So he was 75, Stetson Bennett against Alabama. That's winning football, even when you account for the pick six and the other interception and some of the mistakes that people were pointing to. It wasn't, and by the way, Bryce Young was 98 out of 100. Okay, so Alabama definitely had the edge of quarterback. Sure. Yeah, but here's the thing, though. It was the defense of Georgia that failed. The defense of Georgia could not put a speed bump in front of Bryce Young. He threw for over 400 yards against those guys. They scored on like 5 straight possessions and ended up with 34 points against Georgia's defense plus the pick six. But take that away. They scored twice as many points as the highest team that in the regular season, which was Tennessee, I believe, scored 17 against them. And Alabama doubled them up. They gave up 34 points on defense, and that's where they ended up losing the game. So Stetson Bennett's an easy target. I agree with you that he was not up to the challenge of being able to out-duel Bryce Young. He just wasn't. But I think that he is good enough to win the national championship if the defense plays the complementary football that the offense is designed to take advantage of, and the defense of Georgia did not against Alabama.
Trev, what do you think about the coaching movement over the kind of the week there? Brian Kelly kind of made a buffoon of himself with how he left Notre Dame, and then made a buffoon of himself with how he spoke with a Southern accent. You got Mario Cristobal now at Miami. They fire Manny Diaz, who they're kind of leaving out there. Brent Venables goes to Oklahoma. Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame. How do you feel about the end of the coaching cycle? And do you think all this was bad for college football?
It's inevitable. It's fine for me. I mean, a lot of money going into these coaches, and a lot of people will decry that, saying it should be going into the players. But really, from that standpoint, for people that are concerned about that, that'll take care of itself, because when it shows up in court, they're not going to be able to to prohibit the players from direct payments. Right now they get NIL. They're not allowed direct payments from the schools. Well, when you're giving coaches 10-year, $95 million deals, you're not going to win in court when you say, the players can't get payments. So that's going to help the players down the road. But to me, there's a couple things that are really curious. One of them is Brian Kelly leaving Notre Dame. That, to me, is really curious, because he was on their Mount Rushmore as the winningest coach in Notre Dame history, even though he hadn't won a national championship. Now he goes down to LSU. I think he expected to bring some of his staff with him to LSU, but his staff all stayed with Marcus Freeman up at Notre Dame. So now Brian Kelly's down there, doesn't know anybody, doesn't know anything, and he's got to hire a staff that he doesn't know either.
And not only that, Trev, nobody's going to feel bad for him either. Nobody's going to feel bad for him at LSU doing that, because the whole story is Saban told the assistants at Michigan State who's getting on the plane, and nobody got on the plane, and he went to LSU. So now if Kelly says, all my assistants stayed at Notre Dame, they're going to say, Nick Saban wasn't a problem for him.
Yeah, well, okay. We're about to find out how Kelly compares to Nick Saban every single year in November, aren't we?
I can't wait for that. By the way, did you think that, I think Saban's the best coach who ever lived. Now, I'm kind of biased when it comes to
Well, he knows you. He calls you on the phone. Of course you're biased. He's never called me on the phone.
Well, he's called me on the phone once, and I'm guessing he's never going to call me on the phone ever again. But I would say this. I think that Saturday was a referendum for all of us that he's the best coach who ever lived. We know it, but just like when Brady goes out there with Tampa Bay and wins a Super Bowl, it's like, yep, that's the best ever. When Jordan hits the shot against Utah with holding the follow-through, yep, that's the best ever. And I think Saban did that for us Saturday night.
He did. And everybody in the SEC right now is just trying for number 2. Whatever happens in the national championship game, Alabama won the SEC championship again, which often is harder to do than to win the national championship game. Just ask Georgia. Just ask LSU in 2011, where they won the SEC championship game, but Bama knocked them both out in the national championship game. Bama didn't win the SEC in either one of those years. It's hard to win the SEC. And so, I absolutely agree, especially in a year when Bama was supposed to be as down as they ever get.
Caroline thinks Nick Saban is unlikable. Do you think Nick Saban is likable or unlikable?
I think he is not just likable. I think he's likable, and I think he is easy to like and easy to respect. You have to translate Saban to English sometimes, and you have to kind of get a feel for why he says what he says and does what he does. And you have to not take it personally that he doesn't care what you think. Beyond that, Saban is one of the most extraordinary people in this business that I've ever met, and I like him. And I met him. I didn't call me on the phone, but I got to visit with him in his office for a half an hour one time. And I tell you what, I was surprised at how personable he was.
Oh, I mean, he's awesome. And, like, not only that, I told the story on Friday, but, like, one time at SEC Media Days, Floyd called him and said, hey, we're going to interview. Saban brings us to this room. And so it's literally just us. Like, it's me, Floyd, Saban. And we were just hanging out, just shooting the breeze. And, you know, Floyd and Saban go way, 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 way back to the Oiler days when they were both assistant coaches under Jerry Glanville. And, I mean, my thing with Nick Saban was I was like, man, he's cool. You know, not in, hey, it was really nice. He was a nice guy because he's a big famous guy. But, no, like, he was, like, cool to hang out with. And, boy, I tell you, I'm a huge fan. I like everything there is to say about Saban. And I appreciate that you are opening Caroline's eyes as well, Trev. Trev, appreciate you. Thank you so much for making time for us on a Monday.
Thanks, Jared.
Yep, Trevor Mattich, presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters. You feel better about Saban?
No. I mean, I don't think that there is going to be anything that changes my mind.
Oh, I love Saban.
Of course Trevor loves Saban.
What do you mean, of course? Because he's a great guy and a great coach.
Well, okay, you can keep telling me that, and that's not going to change my mind because I know that it's coming from you who love Saban, and your mind will not be changed about Saban, barring any sort of extraordinary circumstance. So you can keep telling me that he's a likable guy, and I'm going to keep telling you that I don't like him.
Oh, God, I love Saban. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Coming up next, Monday Night Football, Patriots, Bills, and it's a big one for the Titans for a lot of different reasons. Now, it's going to be a wild one, apparently, but we'll get to that next. Stillman and Company. It's ESPN 1025 The Game, and, of course, we're streaming on the Game Nashville app.
The voice of reason.
If I'm the official, I would send both teams to the locker room and say, this is going to stop.
The voice of the fan.
Our entire team's a mass unit right now.
The voice of Nashville sports is your home of Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Victory Award-winning New Amsterdam Vodka knows all about it, but in life, it's not always so clear. So New Amsterdam Vodka believes that in life, you've got to find your own wins. You've got to overcome your fears, go all in, even when you've got nothing at all. Find your wins. And when you do, raise that glass of New Amsterdam Vodka in victory. You've earned it. New Amsterdam Spirits Company, Modesto, California.
Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is here to serve you. Is your AC or heating unit old and inefficient? Is it breaking down yearly? Now is the time to replace it. Waiting can cost you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Just like everything, the cost of a new AC unit is rising. Effective January 1st, all manufacturers are increasing prices up to 10%. Get ahead of the game and call Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, offering 60 months no interest financing and 10-year parts and labor warranty on all new units. Schedule now at springhillac.com or call 615-778-8855.
What's up, everybody? This is Teron Davenport, and I am here to tell you about Freedom Tire Guys. They're Nashville's premier mobile tire service. New tires, rotating, balancing, flat repair, torquing, they do it all. I can tell you this from personal experience. Just a couple weeks ago, I was at the Titans facility. They came there and changed my tires, all four of them. They did an excellent job. My car is riding extra smooth now. If you're in need of tire service, be sure to check them out at freedomtireguys.com. If you don't see the tires you want, they'll go ahead and get it for you.
312 Pizza Company is family-owned and operated, bringing you a slice of Chicago to Nashville. 312 Pizza Company specializes in deep dish pizza, thin crust pizza, and all things Chicago style. Always made from scratch using secret family recipes passed down generation to generation. 312 Pizza is open every day except for Tuesdays and is located in Germantown with dine-in, takeout, and curbside available. Call 615-730-7888 to order 312 Pizza Company, Nashville's authentic Chicago pizzeria.
Zines First is the official sign company for 102.5 The Game. Go to sfnash.com.
5G is here, but the big carriers want you to sign a pricey long-term contract to get in on the action. Well, no more, because Straight Talk Wireless has rolled out 5G coverage nationwide, with plans starting at just $35 a month with no contract. And get a Samsung Galaxy A32 5G for only $299. All on America's best networks. 5G coverage, 5G phones, less money. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
Contest rules for 102.5 The Game and ESPN 94.9, including on-air, online, and text-based contests, are available by visiting the contest rules page at thegamenashville.com. Good luck and thanks for listening to 102.5 The Game and ESPN 94.9.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving. ESPN 102.5 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. Reaction Monday, powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, and by our friends at Focus Sparkling Water with a Spark Drink Focus, PHOCUS. Drink Focus, got my focus right here, drinkfocus.com. I was thinking today when I was on the show, I was like, what am I going to do after the show's over today? You know, basically my entire life is built around 2 o'clock. So, like, I wake up in the morning and I, watch TV and I listen to talk radio and I try to think, okay, what are we going to talk about for 4 hours every day? And you really don't realize how long 4 hours is until you do what I did Wednesday, where I got my COVID booster and I literally just sat there in bed all day, like, thinking that I was going to get sick. And ultimately didn't have any side effects, but
which is good. I'm glad.
I wanted to make sure that, whatever. And I just sat there and I watched 30 for 30s the whole time. And, like, you realize how long 4 hours is. So I spend all day thinking about what we're going to talk about for 4 hours. Then the radio show's over. Then I go on with my life. And I'm like, what am I doing after the show today? And I'm like, oh, Monday Night Football. Tonight, the Bills and the Patriots. And normally, I think we would say, like, okay, a Titan game is on the scale of 1 to 10 in terms of importance around here, a 12.
Yes.
This game might be a 9. Like, this game as far as the Titans. It's not as big as, like, a couple of years ago when the Titans, in order to make the playoffs, needed the Jets to beat the Steelers, and they did. Or a couple of years ago, the Titans needed the Saints to beat the Steelers on a Sunday, and they did, and then the next week the Titans were win and in because the Steelers were out. And so it's not that. That would be a 10, but this might be a 9. According to the New York Times playoff simulator, the New England Patriots have a 99% chance to make the playoffs. However, the New England Patriots have a 93% chance to make the playoffs and a 47% chance to win their division. That's great. I'm not sure I care about that. Not sure you do either. They have a 29% chance of getting the number 1 seed in the AFC. The Ravens have an 11% chance. The Bills have a 14% chance. The Chiefs have a 14% chance. And the Titans are second with a 25% chance. So the Patriots have a 29% chance to get the bye. The Titans have a 25% chance. Now let's just say this. Let's pick the Bills tonight, according to this New York Times playoff simulator. The Patriots have an 11% chance at getting the number 1 seed, just based upon this game alone. Titans, Jags, who do you think wins?
Titans.
Okay, let's say Titans. Next week, Colts, Patriots. Who do you think wins?
Patriots.
Okay, let's go ahead and put the Patriots in here. Where can I find the Patriots? They are somewhere around here. Why can't I find this?
Do the Patriots have a bye?
I think they have a bye. That's
they
what
do.
I'm about.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Here you go. All right. Patriots beat the Colts. Now they got a 19% chance, but the Titans still have the number 1% chance. Titans, Steelers. Let's say Steelers win that game.
I think that's fair.
Okay. Patriots have a 20% chance at the bye. Then they play the Bills again.
Mm-hmm.
This game's in Foxborough. Let's give it to the Patriots. Now they got a pretty good shot at getting the bye, but let's say the Titans take care of business against the 49ers. Patriots now have a 37% chance at the bye. Patriots last crack at it, their last game of the season. The Titans are going to play the Dolphins. They're going to win that game. Titans are going to play at the Texans. Titans are going to win that game. If the Titans only lose to the Steelers, the Patriots still have a 33% chance of getting that bye. But they have to beat Jacksonville, which they will. They have to beat Jacksonville, which they will. And then the last week of the year, they have to beat the Dolphins. So if that were to be the case, Titans lose that one game.
So that's Titans going 4-1.
Yep.
And that's Patriots going what?
4-1.
4-1 in that stretch. Okay.
If that's the case, then they've got a 100% chance to make the playoff and a 69% chance to get the bye. So you need them to lose twice along the way or you to be perfect the rest of the way. And the way I look at it is it's hard for me to see the Titans going perfect the rest of the way with all the injuries that they have. If they win this game tonight, say you go back to it and start over where you are right now, again, they have a 29% chance of getting the bye. If they win tonight, the Patriots against the Bills, and again, this is the New York Times, which some people don't want to believe what the New York Times says anyways, but if the Patriots win tonight, it goes to a 47% chance of them getting the bye. So that's how much hangs in the balance tonight, and the game is at Buffalo, and the wind apparently is all over the place tonight.
It looks miserable in Buffalo tonight.
And so you're putting a rookie quarterback, and I got to believe that with that defensive front that the Bills have, they're going to do the exact same thing the Titans did, which is they're going to say, okay, rookie, throw the ball on us. And all those dinking and dunkins and screens, that's going to be hard with 30-mile-per-hour wind for a kid from Alabama. And that's exactly what Mac Jones is. So, I mean, to me, this is a big one. This is a big one for the Titans. And I think it's a big one not only for that, but if you were to look at the playoff picture, and I've always talked about the road. Like, the road to the Super Bowl matters just as much as anything. And right now, if we've learned anything, it's that all these AFC teams that are playoff contenders can beat other AFC playoff contenders. The Steelers, the Ravens, the Browns, maybe not the Dolphins, but those teams with the Chargers and the Bengals and they can beat the Bills. They can beat the Titans. They can beat the Ravens. They can beat the Chiefs. They can all beat each other right now. So you want to skip 1 week, and you want, somebody that you don't want to play, Buffalo, Kansas City, you want them to get taken out by somebody you'd rather play, like Cincinnati. If the playoffs were to start today, and let's say, because remember what the road was last week. The road for the Titans to the Super Bowl was the Buffalo Bills at home, then on the road to Foxborough, then on the road to either Baltimore or Kansas City at home, and I think it would be Kansas City at home, which I don't want. Here's the road for the Titans today. The Titans would get to face the 7th-seeded Bengals. So if you beat the Bengals, now you're the 2 seed, you play, there's no shot of having to play the number 1 seeded Patriots off of a bye, and you get to stay at home. So you play either the Ravens or the Chiefs, whichever team is remaining, whichever is the lowest seeded, Ravens or Chiefs, but you get to do it at home. And if one of those teams loses, so for example, the Chiefs would play the Bills, that's one great quarterback you don't have to play because you will not have to play either Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes. But they have to come to you. The Chargers, meanwhile, take on the Ravens. If the Chargers were to win that game, then no, you would draw the Ravens instead of having to play the Chiefs if the Chargers were to lose. I'm getting all confused. Anywho.
There's so many
here's the road. Excuse me.
moving parts.
The road would be having to play Cincinnati. Then after you play Cincinnati, you would get the highest remaining seed possible. So in theory, the Ravens, the 3 seed, could knock off the Chargers, but if the Bills or Chiefs win, which one of them would, that team is the lowest remaining seed, and they would go to the Patriots, and you'd get the Ravens at home.
I kind of prefer that.
Bengals, Ravens. Then you got to play, either Kansas City at home or at New England. Now, if New England loses tonight, the road to the playoffs, where we sit today, which could change down the stretch, but the road to the playoffs would be everybody at home, lowest remaining team no matter what, which means you could get any of these teams that are the bottom tier. And again, I think the Bengals could beat the Patriots in one game. I think the Chargers could go on the road and beat Baltimore. I think those things are possible. They didn't happen earlier this year, but it could. You're drawing that team in the first game. So you're skipping out on the team that gets upset. Kansas City, Baltimore, New England, one of those teams gets upset, and you draw the lowest remaining seed. That could make the road to the Super Bowl much easier. So tonight's game, to me, is a big one for the Titans. Now, the Titans still have work to do. But as far as, what does it mean for the playoffs? I think this is a big one. And I think you need the Buffalo Bills to win. And I think you probably need the Colts. I know this is going to sound crazy. I think you're going to need the Colts to knock off the Patriots too. And if we saw anything with the way that Dontrell Hilliard and Deontay Foreman ran the football against New England in the Dome, I think we could see Jonathan Taylor run that football all over the Patriots. So this is a big one. Playoff seeding matters because everybody's equal right now. Playoff seeding matters. 615-737-1025. Your thoughts on tonight's game?
I think you said it best that it's when it comes down to it at this point in the season, especially in the AFC, where it seems like all of these teams are kind of sitting in the same tier. We said it earlier in the show. In the NFC, it seems like there are a couple teams that are far and above the best teams in the NFC. The AFC is completely up in the air. I mean, how many 8-4 teams are there at this point in the AFC? 4? I don't know off the top of my head. But I think at this point, the Titans have set themselves up for so much success. With the injuries, it's so important for the Titans to, get thrown a bone by some of these other teams, to start knocking off the teams to put you in a better position. For example, the Colts beating the Bills. That's only good for the Titans. But the Titans are sitting so pretty in the AFC South.
I mean, I like it. But you got to have the win tonight. So what about
Bills win tonight?
What about the chances the Bills have tonight? What do we make of it? We'll discuss next. 615-737-1025. Stillman and Company, Reaction Monday, powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. And this is probably more important, Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, and they're all the same. Focus Sparkling Water with a Spark. Stillman and Company. It's ESPN 1025 The Game. And let's give away Preds tickets in the next segment. We will do that. It's ESPN 1025 The Game and streaming on the Game Nashville app.
1025 The Game and Cromwell Media are teaming up with Souls for Souls this holiday season for Souls for Music City.
Thank you to everyone who's helping us.
Every $20 donation equals a brand new pair of athletic shoes for a local child experiencing homelessness in Middle Tennessee.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Log on to thegamenashville.com/shoes to learn more on how you can help bring a smile to a child's face at a time of need. Souls for Music City is brought to you by Newton Motor Group.
Thank you so much.
Possibilities are all around us. We see potential in unexpected places. And when we share our knowledge, vision, and connections, we turn great ideas into action. Together, we can make real change happen. We're Rotary. We are people of action. Get involved today at Rotary.org/action.
This holiday season, head into Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the hottest gifts from Callaway and Bushnell, featuring Callaway's Epic Woods, framing the future of speed with speed frame and AI technology for maximum ball speed and maximum forgiveness. It's the ultimate epic driver. And don't miss these hot gifts from Bushnell, like the Tour V5 and the Tour V5 Shift with pin seeker technology, or the Wingman with Bluetooth and audible GPS for distance. Edwin Watts Golf Shops is home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee, or shop us online for the holidays at worldwidegolfshops.com.
It's the 12 days of Christmas at Genesis Diamonds with the best gift ever. 5 years, 0 interest financing. That's right. For the first 12 days of December, you get the unbeatable Genesis value price, plus 0 interest financing for 5 years with nothing down. So you can splurge on a new diamond. Why not upgrade her from a 1 carat to a 2 carat? With this offer, you can get a $12,000 designer engagement ring for just $200 a month. All Genesis GIA certified diamonds are included. So if you're celebrating a lifetime of love, or just starting out, you can get the ring of her dreams and spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest. Diamond earrings, diamond pendants, diamond bands, and bracelets are also included. But you need to shop early. This finance offer is going on now through December 12th only at Genesis Diamonds. Merry Christmas from Genesis Diamonds. Green Hills and Cool Springs. On approved credit, see store for details.
Mortgage rates are on the move, but you can still lower your house payment with my friends at Loan Pronto. Willie here. Call Loan Pronto now and take advantage of their super popular zero-cost refi program. So many people are doing this before the year ends. You can refi now. Get a rate with an APR in the low 2s with no junk fees and no closing costs, even if you refinanced 6 months ago. Loan Pronto's all-digital process is fast and easy, virtually no paperwork required, and most loans get closed in 14 days. And if you act right now, you can even skip your next 2 house payments. So call Loan Pronto now. Rates are still really low. If you're currently in the APR range of over 2.75, call now. You got nothing to lose. See how much you can save by going into the new year. Lower that house payment. Call 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. Not all loans eligible. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Interact with Stillman and Company. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Stillman and Company Reaction Monday, powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and by Focus Sparkling Water with a spark. I feel like I've done all these. Going through this. Yeah, I think I've done them all. Okay, anywho. So tonight's Monday Night Football game, again, if the Patriots lose tonight, the Titans, after all their injuries and their just horrifically crappy play for most of the last 2 weeks, would all be put in the back seat, and the Titans would have the number 1 seed in the AFC. Now, Mike Vrabel was asked today about Julio Jones, who was brought back from IR, and said that they were excited to see him out there today and then would assess it from then, which is not a committal statement about is Julio coming back? Yes. He was asked about Derrick Henry today, and he said Derrick's out for this week. Again, not a committal statement about Derrick Henry, which we would love to know if Derrick Henry's going to come back or not. Buffalo, New England, though, is a big one. Apparently the wind is 35 miles per hour. It is snowing in Buffalo, right?
Yes, it is. It looks like it, at least.
So it's hard to tell how much is snow versus how much is just blowing around, to be honest.
So one of my friends is a social media person for the Patriots, and I asked her how cold it was, and she said it wasn't that it was cold, but the wind is so bad. She says she feels like she's going to get blown off the field. So apparently the wind is just bad today. Rookie quarterback Mac Jones, not known for a big arm. Josh Allen, experienced quarterback, has played in Buffalo for 4 years, is known for having a cannon. Now, Floyd used to tell me that the thing about Buffalo is the way the wind cuts through that stadium is unlike any other stadium in the league. What do we think this does to the Patriots' chances of trying to win? Because, again, the Titans need the Patriots to lose today.
I think Mac Jones, I mean, this is going to be one of the biggest, if not the biggest test of his NFL career so far for multiple reasons. I mean, just the fact that the Patriots are on this massive stage, and the eyes are all on the Patriots being the hot team in the AFC right now. And also going into Buffalo, Mac Jones is from Jacksonville, Florida, and played his collegiate career at Alabama. I would be shocked if he has ever played.
Every game after the first of the year that Alabama's ever played in
has been
a
inside,
climate-controlled or outdoor like stadium in California.
Yes,
I mean, like that's how it works in college football. You don't play games like this in college football.
No. I mean, when you play at Alabama. I don't think that he's ever experienced anything like this. And I think that you can train and you can prepare yourself mentally to be in this sort of environment. But when it comes down to it, you're a rookie and you cannot mimic a real game time situation. So I think that's going to be a huge test for New England.
Here's what bothers me. Bill knows that too.
I know. And that's what I was getting at.
Bill's going to run the ball with Ramondre Stevenson today. And he's going to run the ball with Damian Harris. If the wind is going around, like those little screen passes where Mac drops back and kind of floats it in the air like he did against the Titans, if that ball gets carried into the wind, when you put that much air under it, it gets carried into the wind. That could end up in the hands of a defensive player, and Bill's not going to risk that. So he's going to run the ball. Here's my problem. Who runs the ball for Buffalo?
And that's what I was getting at was I hear you that Josh Allen has a cannon, and I think he can throw the ball probably 60 yards down the field, but they're not going to do that. And the Patriots have a much more threatening run game. I mean, Devin Singletary, is he going to carry the ball, 30 times for Buffalo?
Dontrell Hilliard had 130 yards rushing last week against this defense.
But that's because he plays for the Titans with a run-first offense. Buffalo has never been a run-first offense in this personnel. Buffalo has never relied on Devin Singletary to be able to win them games. And against this New England Patriots defense, which I know that Dontrell Hilliard and Deontay Foreman were able to run all over this Patriots defense. But I think that it's going to be incredibly difficult for Buffalo to get this ball moving because they are such a pass-heavy offense.
I mean, I'm looking at a video that was taken 6 minutes ago from the field in Buffalo. It is definitely snowing, but it's not sticking. It's just kind of there.
I think I looked and it was like 38 degrees.
But the wind is just so reckless. I mean, it looks like confetti's been dropped down from like the sky by God, onto this field.
Dramatic.
Well, I mean, who else is dropping it? So it looks like, I don't know, guys are walking around with shorts on. Guys are warming up with short sleeves on, so I guess it's not that bad.
There are always those guys who are like, we don't feel the cold. It's game day. Like, it's cold outside. It's okay to admit it.
I mean, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to affect it.
I mean, cold or not, the wind is going to play a huge factor here, just by the laws of physics.
I think Buffalo's going to try to throw the ball.
I mean, how do you throw the ball in these conditions?
You say, hey, fire it through there with your cannon of an arm. There are certain quarterbacks. I want to say, like, there was a game. Now, this is well before I was born. But I want to say there was an AFC championship game in Cincinnati where the wind was so bad that I don't think it was Boomer Esiason. I think it was before Boomer's time. I can't remember who quarterback Cincinnati, like maybe Ken Anderson or something. I don't know. But maybe it was Boomer. And Dan Fouts was with the Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
And like Dan Fouts, I think, had like a rocket launcher. And Dan Fouts was like, yeah, there was no way to throw the ball in that wind. Like, there was just no, and I'm not saying this is that, because I'd have to go back to the specifics to see how bad that wind was. But like Dan Fouts was like, yeah, there was no way to throw the ball in that weather.
I mean, sometimes you just can't overcome certain things. And I hear you, because that's what Buffalo does.
But I'll tell you, Buffalo's
going to
try to throw the ball.
Sometimes you just can't beat certain things.
Here's what you do. You throw it up. They got good receivers. You throw it up to Stephon Diggs. You throw it up to the who's the really fast one from Georgia that they have. And you basically say, hey, go jump up in the air and get it. And I don't like that, but I think that may be Buffalo's best play, is throw it up in the air, go up and get it. Besides, is 35-mile-per-hour wind, is that like absolute? Now, I don't know how you kick in this, but is that absolutely like passing, where you can't pass right?
I mean, think about like a car going 35 miles an hour. Like, would you want to get hit by a car going 35 miles an hour?
Well, no. But
that's pretty fast.
Would you want to get hit by a baseball going 35 miles an hour?
I don't want to get hit by anything going 35 miles an hour.
Like a baseball
But
going,
I'm just putting
a
35.
baseball going 35 miles per hour is not very fast.
Yes.
Like if I lobbed it over to you like that, that's it going 35 miles an hour. You could live with that hitting you.
Okay, but 35 miles an hour is fast.
But is it enough to change like the trajectory of the ball with a quarterback like Josh Allen?
I guess we're about to find out. I mean, I don't know. Josh Allen, yes, he has a huge arm.
Okay, here you go. The Freezer Bowl, 1982, between the Chargers and the Bengals, was played at Cincinnati's Riverfront Stadium on NBC. It was minus 22.8, and the wind was 27 miles an hour. So this wind is supposed to be more than that wind. Now, I do think that when it's minus 22 compared to 38, you're talking about a 50-degree swing.
But when you're talking about the wind, it doesn't really matter.
Right, as far as the ball's concerned. But then you got to be able to hold the ball.
Yeah,
grip the
your
ball,
grip on the ball is
and
going to
when
be
it's cold,
different.
And the ball's cold.
The receiver can catch the ball easier when it's warmer. But, I mean,
maybe you won't be able to throw in this weather.
There
I
are
think
weather
they'll be
advisories.
able to throw a little bit, just not very deep at all.
Yeah. Like, there are weather advisories in Buffalo right now, and that's a city that gets a lot of really bad weather. So if they're freaking out about it, I think that's worth something.
So we think that this is more likely to benefit the Patriots, even though they got a young quarterback that doesn't have the arm, than it would benefit Buffalo, who's got an experienced quarterback who's played in the stadium and does have a rocket.
In my opinion, yes, because I think that New England has a better run game. And that's going to be the easiest way to get the ball downfield.
But we would have said last week that New England had a better run game before they played the Titans.
Yes.
And the Titans ran for like 300 yards on them.
Yeah.
So
that doesn't mean
does Bill not have a good rush defense?
Maybe that's the case.
And is that something that Buffalo says, okay, we're going to run a lot of options? I mean, the one thing that they like to do is they can run Allen today. And I think you're going to see Allen run a lot. But I kept wondering what took Bill so long to figure out what the Titans were trying to do and how he didn't stop it. Like, that was concerning on Sunday if you're a Patriot fan, that after the first quarter and a half, the Titans are running the ball. They're running it. And Bill didn't do anything about it. Like, what was going on there?
I do wonder, because what did we always question why the Titans didn't give the ball to Deontay Foreman?
Because they were afraid he was going to fumble.
Because they were afraid he was going to fumble. Do you think Bill, in a weird backhanded way, thought, sure, give the ball?
It up, they start creasing you for 65-yard touchdown runs.
I mean, it
I
sounds
think you have
crazy.
to make an adjustment.
It sounds crazy, but why else would Bill Belichick not stop the run? We know that they can, and we know that
maybe they can't.
Bill's a smarter coach than that.
Maybe they can't. Like, maybe the Titans know this. They've gone in there now twice in a row and run all over them. And what's
Maybe
the one
that's
thing
true.
that Bill says, or the one thing that they say about Bill? He'll take away whatever you're best at. And Derrick Henry still runs for 188 yards?
Maybe that's true.
So maybe the Titans have something figured out. If anybody knows how to, crease that defense, it's your coach. Maybe there's something to that. But I still don't see Buffalo. I don't see Buffalo looking at last week's tape, seeing the conditions and saying, let's do it this way, because I don't think they're smart enough. And I think they got a good coach. But I think everybody that pays a quarterback $40 million wants to make the $40 million quarterback earn the $40 million. 615-737-1025. The Vols are in the Music City Bowl. A lot of people really excited about that. Our thoughts, we'll do that coming up next. But I promised we'd give away a pair of Preds tickets, so let's do that now. Be caller 5 right now at 615-737-1025, and you will win a pair of tickets to the Predators take on the Colorado Avalanche at Bridgestone Arena on Thursday, December 16th. Don't miss out on the home games scheduled next week. Tuesday, it's Preds and Flames at 7 o'clock, and Thursday, it's Preds and Avalanche. Big divisional matchup, 7 o'clock right there. More information on Predators tickets can be found by going to NashvillePredators.com/tickets. Single game tickets are available in multiple price levels and are subject to availability by game and by price level. Stillman and Company, we're delivered by TriStar Moving. It's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Tuesday night.
Scored! Matt Duchene scores on the power play.
Matt Duchene and the Predators head north for another road trip starting in the Motor City against the Red Wings. Pre-game at 5. Face Off at 6 on Smashville's Best Sports Talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Attention Nice List recipients. The Mercedes-Benz Winter Event is here. Make this season your reason. Forget the halls, deck the garage. Hark, the turbo engines sing. Like hot cocoa in a blizzard, this opportunity won't last long. Hurry for these exclusive offers from Nashville's two-time Best of the Best award-winning Mercedes-Benz of Music City. Just one exit from the airport. Go to mbofmc.com.
Blood Assurance is the only nonprofit blood centers in Middle Tennessee where 100% of your blood donations go to help save lives for people right here in our community. Blood Assurance is proud to announce the opening of its newest location on December 9th at the Oakwood Commons Shopping Center at 4686 Lebanon Pike in Hermitage. Find it in your heart to donate today. They'll have their bloodmobile set up in the parking lot until the opening. Go to bloodassurance.org/schedule for information.
Hey, it's Jared. Your body needs water. That doesn't mean it has to be boring. And I'm here to tell you to give Focus a try. Focus is a sparkling water with a spark. It's infused with a boost of natural tea caffeine, so you get clean energy without sugar, calories, or crash. Go to drinkfocus.com to find the full lineup of flavors and get them delivered right to your door. Enter promo code GAME at checkout for 15% off your first order. Focus is also available at your local Publix. That's Focus, P-H-O-C-U-S, on the web at drinkfocus.com.
You may be into punk rock, soft rock, or classic rock, R&B, hip-hop, or house, country, techno, or techno-country. But no matter what kind of music you listen to, here's something else you should hear. Please consider getting vaccinated. Talk to your pharmacist today about Comirnaty, COVID-19 vaccine mRNA. This message brought to you by BioNTech and Pfizer.
5G is here, but the big carriers want you to sign a pricey long-term contract to get in on the action. Well, no more, because Straight Talk Wireless has rolled out 5G coverage nationwide, with plans starting at just $35 a month with no contract. And get a Samsung Galaxy A32 5G for only $299, all on America's best networks. 5G coverage, 5G phones, less money. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. 5G capable device required, actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
In college football, Goodyear knows a new season means new possibilities, where every Saturday is an opportunity on the road to greatness. No matter if you're out there playing your hardest or cheering the loudest from the sidelines, tailgating in the parking lot, or your favorite spot to watch the game, Goodyear knows passion is what drives us forward all the way to the playoffs. That's the road that moves us. Goodyear, more driven.
Tune in to Stillman and Company every Friday at 5 o'clock.
I am glad to be on this show.
To hear from Nashville sports media personality Chad Withrow of Outkick 360.
He's 6'4", he's 260 pounds, he runs 21 miles per hour.
Brought to you by Apple Collision Centers.
This could be the best game of the weekend between these two teams.
Withrow joins Stillman and Company Fridays at 5.
Happy to join you guys every Friday.
On Nashville's Best Sports Talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is new Vanderbilt head coach Jerry Stackhouse. You're listening to Nashville's Best Sports Talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Josh, how big was it for this program to reach a bowl game in year one?
Yeah, important for sure. The opportunities that come behind it tonight. I don't think there's anybody inside of our program, this is going to sound odd, that was like focused on that part of it. That's not what I talked about. I don't think that's what our focus was from our players. It was truly on, South Alabama, but really on us and continuing to grow and compete. It's big for us because it just continues to build the momentum that we've had going here during the course of the season. It gives you opportunities to continue to compete into December and grow. In particular with your young players and some development that happens there, which is really important for us in year one.
There you go, Josh Heupel. They will be playing in the Trans-Perfect Music City Bowl right here at Nissan Stadium on December 30th. They'll be taking on the Purdue Boilermakers. Now, I had heard that there were all these different bowl projections, and I thought Arkansas was coming. And so Scott Ramsey's going to join us, the CEO of the Bowl, National Sports Council. Scott's going to join us. I wonder how much work they had to do with the SEC to get Tennessee out of Florida and get Tennessee here. Now, here's what's crazy. This is good for Tennessee because I think they'll have a lot of fans here, and I think they'll travel down. They're already here, and then they'll get people whatever, and they'll have a lot of fans, and, it'll be good for the city, and they'll sell a lot of tickets, and they'll sell a lot of popcorn, and they'll have hotels, and they'll whatever. I think that's all good. I remember when they played Nebraska here a couple years ago, it was good. Now, Purdue is the other team in the game. Now, here's what's crazy about Purdue. Jeff Brom may not be their coach then. There are a lot of rumors swirling around Jeff Brom that he might be the next coach at Louisville.
Interesting.
And all that would go down between now and then. Now, the Louisville athletic director may not be the Louisville athletic director by this time tomorrow. He may not be the Louisville athletic director in an hour. So it's all getting crazy. What's going to happen? Purdue playing in this game, who knows? But the Vols, it's crazy to be talking about everybody else's laundry because normally it's the coach get fired. It's the Vols, athletic director problems, the Vols. Not this time. They got an athletic director. They got a coach. They're in the TransPerfect Music City Bowl. Scott Ramsey joins us now from the National Sports Council, CEO of the bowl game. Scott, I got to ask you this question. First of all, congratulations on having a great bowl and everything else. How much work did you have to do with the SEC in order to get Tennessee here? Because I'm sure there were a lot of bowls, especially in Florida this time of year, that would have loved to have the Vols. You got them here at Nissan Stadium.
Well, first of all, thanks. I don't like all your Purdue comments, man. Come on. Don't be drawing that up. But, no, specifically, I'm pretty excited about this year. I think we've been very intentional with Tennessee. We've had a great relationship with their administration for all 24 or 5 years I've been here doing this. And I think we've been very respectful of trying to find the right years when, playing in Nashville could be a real benefit for not just Tennessee, but for the bowl. And I really kind of thought this year was one of those where you just felt like coming out of COVID, we had cancellation late last year. A lot of bowls didn't play. And everybody just felt like, if you could really put some regional matchups, it gave fans really a chance to follow their teams, be a part of the bowl experience this year, and really allow the cities to have some full stadiums and create some great environment for the players during the game. So, I think, it just felt right this year. And, a chance to have Coach Heupel's first year and certainly their momentum. And I think, to your point earlier, Purdue and Tennessee both really offensively are really good. So from a bowl perspective, you really feel like you could have a shootout and some great TV ratings and hopefully a full stadium for the players.
Now, I'm going to tell you something that I have on good authority that I feel like, then again, the authority, it's what it is. Jeff Brom is not going to be Louisville's next coach. I think he's going to stay at Purdue, so he will probably coach this bowl game. But I think the bigger thing here, too, is you can't have Tennessee in this bowl game every year. I think the last time Tennessee was here was, 16 against Nebraska?
Yeah, and this is the third time in our 24 years. So, again, it's, I think we've been pretty judicious with that and having them here. And, I think when you look around, in the SEC lineup for the most part, I think the system really kind of helped benefit that. You got South Carolina and Charlotte, you got Auburn, Birmingham, you got LSU and Houston, you got Mississippi State in Memphis, you've got Tennessee and Nashville. So, I think there's really some really good regionality this year that I think just is positive for fans to be able to follow their teams. And, I know there's still a lot of apprehension in the national marketplace about travel and especially around the holidays. So, and Purdue's the same way, Jared. They brought a great crowd in 2018. It's the second time we've had them, but it was a chance to have a regional team 5 hours away. They wanted to come back, and I think they're going to bring a great contingency. And from our city standpoint, we're really going to have a pretty exciting atmosphere for 2 or 3 days here in Nashville.
I think they wanted to come back, Scott Ramsey, because they didn't play very well the last time they came down here against Auburn. But I look at this, too, and I think, with a fan base like Tennessee, there's a lot of fans in Nashville, obviously, that are Vol fans, but there's a lot of people that are going to book hotel rooms definitely a lot of people that are Purdue fans that are going to come here and book hotel rooms. When you guys were talking, and I'm sure it wasn't just you in the SEC or, I'm sure you were talking with all the Bulls as you kind of laid out that geographical, situation with all these SEC teams. How much of it was we still want people to travel and book hotel rooms, but we almost want to make it easier on them too?
It was absolutely one of the real key things everybody talked about, as I mentioned. And, sometimes I think it's a little misnomer that if you have a team like Tennessee, while the campus is 3 hours away, but you have a huge alumni base like you do in Nashville, that you're not going to get you hotel rooms. And that really hasn't proven the case because, with Kentucky, with Louisville, with Tennessee, even with Auburn having a big base, in Birmingham 3 hours away, while we've seen attendance be very heavy toward those teams, let's say, you walk in the stadium that day, there's 40 or 45,000 people wearing orange. What we're seeing is about a third of them are still coming and spending, a couple, 3 nights here. That's a big contingency if you start thinking about 15 or 18,000 people coming and spending, 2 and 3 nights. So they may have a lot of day trippers in there or local fans that just come to the game, but we're still seeing a great economic impact. And, again, a chance to fill the stadium, which I think just is a better environment for the players to play. We try to do it every year, but, when you get 2 teams traveling in, 55, 60 is a great number. But, boy, if you can fill it up, it's just a special environment.
Scott Ramsey's with us. How much did the Alabama win, 2 SEC teams in the playoff, how much did that affect this, and what were your discussions like Saturday and into Sunday before this became official?
For the first year, and as long as I can remember, it didn't impact our selection at all because you just felt like there was just no scenario where they didn't get 3 into the New Year's Six. Regardless of where they went, how the combination was, Ole Miss was going to be in, and there was not really a 4th team to squeeze in. There's really not with a loss anybody's going to fall out. So we were able to kind of draft some scenarios, and everybody kind of weighed in. The conference kind of weighed in and tried to make some of the best decisions with the bowls and the schools we could. And I think it made it go a little bit smoother this year. I think on the Big Ten side, though, we were kind of waiting to make sure to see if Michigan State would get in the New Year's Six, which they did, or possibly fall out with a couple upsets. That could have changed the domino on Purdue a little bit. But for the most part, it came out great for us. We feel like we've got 2 fan bases excited about being here this year, excited about their teams. I think a great game on the field, and we're going to see a lot of visitors here for 2 or 3 days in late December.
Scott Ramsey, he is the best with the National Sports Council and the CEO of the Trans-Perfect Music City Bowl. Glad to be back after last season when the bowl game got canceled abruptly, which sunk the hearts of a lot of student athletes last year. So it'd be good to have them back as well. Scott, appreciate it. I know you're very busy around this time of the year, and I know you're very busy with, the Titans potentially having playoff games, and then who knows about the Stadium Series and everything else that the Sports Council's got going on over the next couple of months. So appreciate you, Scott.
Appreciate you, Jared. Thanks for having me, and I'm sure we'll be talking soon. Thanks, man.
You bet. Get your tickets today for the Trans-Perfect Music City Bowl. And it's funny because a lot of the times when it's a matchup that's not a Tennessee in it, it's like tickets are still available. Here's where to get them. Here's where to – I'm not really concerned about the bowl game not selling tickets. I think this baby's going to be sold out. I mean, when Auburn played Purdue a couple years ago, and I mean Purdue got their butts kicked when that happened, I mean, it was filled to the brim. This is going to be Tennessee. This is going to be wild. This is going to be, Kentucky Northwestern's a little different than Tennessee Purdue. By the way, one story about the last time that Purdue was in the Music City Bowl. We normally would do like the pregame show and the postgame show, but this time the way it was, the midday show to the pregame show, so Floyd and I would do the postgame show. And I remember it was a blowout. Auburn just killed them. I mean, just ate them alive. And Floyd sit there in the box, and he had his giant binoculars out. And he was just kind of looking. You almost felt like you were with him, and he was scouting these players. So he's got his giant binoculars out, and the game's a total blowout. We're just sitting there shooting the breeze. And all of a sudden I hear, "Get off the field, 55, you dumbass." And I turned over, and I was like, oh, my God. I mean,
what is your beef with him?
I was like, oh my God. Like, he was just yelled it out loud. He only did that twice. The second time he did it was at the combine. We're walking by where, like, the bench press area is, and Damian Harris, who ultimately is with the Patriots, Damian Harris was at the combine, and he was, really halving it, which they'll dock you reps if you don't have a full bench press rep.
Right.
But what they'll do is they'll dock you 3 reps, but you're knocking out 27, so you get 24, but it's 24 BS reps. And as we're walking by to go to the seat, Damian Harris is doing it, and Floyd just goes, "Lock out, dumbass!" And I loved it both times. Both times. But that reminds me of the last time Purdue was here. Carolines is coming up next. Big Monday night football game. Who gets it done? That's next. Stillman and Company. It's ESPN 105 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
Temperatures will continue to slowly drop as we head into the evening hours. Under mainly clear skies, we drop back to the upper 20s for early Tuesday. Highs stay chilly in the afternoon in the mid-40s. For Fox 17, I'm Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Brian Porth back again to tell you about Dr. Kelly Rice, Family Cosmetic and Dental Sleep Medicine. I was reading some stats recently, Dr. Rice, and I did not realize the ADA says that 80% of people in the U.S. have some form of gum disease.
That's right, Ryan, but our non-surgical periodontal therapy is painless and effective in keeping your mouth healthy, and the mouth is the window to the health of the rest of the body.
What else is new and different at Cool Springs Laser Dentistry?
Well, first, who doesn't want whiter teeth? Our new Zoom LED whitening system is less sensitive, and you get more than 5 shades of whitening. And we just upgraded both our lasers to kill bacteria during your cleaning.
Some people get painful cold sores. Can lasers help that too?
Yes, the gentle laser setting will kill the virus in your cold sores all naturally while reducing the healing time by half. And our special soft tissue wand uses warm, light laser therapy to give instant relief to severe TMJ pain. Our approach to holistic dentistry is unique.
Give them a call today at 615-373-4488 or visit kellyerice.com. You'll be glad you did.
Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is here to serve you. Is your AC or heating unit old and inefficient? Is it breaking down yearly? Now is the time to replace it. Waiting can cost you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Just like everything, the cost of a new AC unit is rising. Effective January 1st, all manufacturers are increasing prices up to 10%. Get ahead of the game and call Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, offering 60 months, no interest financing, and 10-year parts and labor warranty on all new units. Schedule now at springhillac.com or call 615-778-8855.
Do great prices and selection on trucks and SUVs still exist? They do in Truckville. Sarah Chevrolet Buick GMC of Nashville has the largest selection in Tennessee. And we keep getting fresh stock on our lots every day. We're committed to offering you our best price and a 5-star experience, which is why we're still known as the destination for trucks and SUVs. Come visit Truckville, Tennessee today in person or online at sarahnashville.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? So it's about that time for an oil change? We've got what you need. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Castrol Edge Full Synthetic or Full Synthetic High Mileage and an STP Extended Life Oil Filter for just $31.99. And you can get it all fast, your way. Just order online with our free same-day store pickup or next-day delivery.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Start your job today at AutoZone.com. Restrictions apply.
Robbie Stanley.
That size and that speed just doesn't grow on trees. That can be something that you can really turn into.
Joe Rexrode.
Just hold out and somebody will call in the bad signal.
Get your morning started with Robbie and Rexrode every weekday from 6 to 10. Presented by Volunteer State Bank on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is on. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
The inactives are out for tonight's Monday night football game, and apparently both punt returners for the Bills are inactive because they've muffed punts this year. So it's assumed that safety Micah Hyde will be the punt returner, and he'll have one job in this 30-mile-per-hour wind. Fair catch it.
Yeah, I mean, you're not doing anything with that.
I would probably let the ball hit the ground. Because how many of these punts are going to go out of bounds? With
probably a bunch of them.
You know, you punt the ball straight, right
and
over
if
there.
you punt it to one side, does it get carried to the right place by the wind?
That I would not know. Time now for Carolines.
Get in on the action. Put the money on the mahogany. What's on tap on the sports books? It's time to break it all down with Caroline's. Here on Stillman and Company.
On ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Monday Night Football, Patriots at Bills. Give me the Patriots +3 -118. The Patriots are on an absolute heater, and I'm not one to bet against a team on a heater. They're 6-0 in their last 6, and also 6-0 against the spread in their last 6, which is a little bit interesting. Buffalo's without Tre'Davious White. Buffalo's without one of their biggest contributors on defense. New England has the better run attack. And with the weather looking how it does in Buffalo right now, I just don't expect either team to want to air it out. And that very much so is Buffalo's bread and butter when it comes to their offense. So I do think the Patriots are able to get a win here, but I think it is going to be an ugly game.
I'm going to take Buffalo to win. I think you're going to see Matt Breida get a lot of carries, the former San Francisco running back. I think you're going to see him get a lot of carries. I'm going to go anytime touchdown score. Dawson Knox, the tight end.
Okay.
I think will score today for Buffalo, and I'll take another one with Cole Beasley, the wide receiver today for Buffalo, as anytime touchdown scorer. So I'll take Buffalo -3 tonight to get it done against the Patriots. That's it for us. We're out of here. Preds Insiders. Terry Crisp is with Ryan. That's next.